Wake up, gamers, because you're listening to the Big Thing Dimension with Dan and Bob Video Games. Without Jehudi, your heart and lungs will fail. No! Chris Wolfhard.
Big Jim sends his regards.
And Dr. Aggro.
Hey kids, you want Call of Duty for 10 years?
Here on GigaBoots. For some reason, we were quiet this week.
Yeah, what?
I don't know. It's solved now, but
Great.
I don't know how these things happen. You know, I imagine it happened while I was dealing with the Stream Deck shenanigans right in the darkness. But we're good now. Don't worry, everyone. I promise it'll never happen again.
Don't promise that.
Every big thing for the rest of time will go flawlessly from here on out. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Big Thing Dimension number 213. I'm your new host, Dan Reborn Video Games. Happy to see you, Bob.
Am I reborn or is that just you?
It's just me.
Okay, good.
I'm wearing a brown shirt now.
Oh, I see.
Do you do anything different, or do you just do the exact same shit and pretend it's different?
I'm going to do the
Because
same
your
shit.
soul is trapped in a little box.
I'm going to do the same shit, but I'm going to look at the camera when I do it and, like, wink. That's my new thing. That's what I'm all about now.
Yeah, but
And
there,
we
there's
won't
always
be
like
coming
added
soon to
tension.
Rumble, though. We'll still just be here.
Everyone else is the same. But I'm glad to not have a thick ass mustache for once.
It's always nice.
It's been weeks. Glad to not be cramming my massive skull into a Mario hat for hours on end. Oh man, you have no idea how comfortable you are at all times just passively until you do that, until you cram your head into a small thing for an extended period of time. We played a lot of Mario games. We played Mario. We beat Mario 1, 2, 3, Mario Land 1, Mario Land 2, and World and 64. And weirdly enough, 64 took us less time than I think 1, 3, and World.
Yeah, that makes sense with you.
Yeah, but it shouldn't be that way. One should have been easy.
I mean,
One was simple until World 8, right?
You sure did fall the fuck apart at the end.
Yeah, like neither of us are very good at Mario, and I think most of us were also pretty tired and out of it in general for that whole stream.
Yeah, I still don't know what the secret combination of factors was for me, but a real X factor awakened at World 8, and I just ate shit for hours. Which is weird because I've actually beaten Mario 1 in the last year-ish.
Right?
And it was fine. It was cake.
That's crazy because I actually hadn't played Mario 1 all the way through since the Game Boy Color.
Right.
So
who knows? Maybe the Game Boy Color version's easier. Maybe somehow they made that cake. I didn't notice any layout differences.
I can't imagine it being easier because it's the same game but claustrophobic.
Yeah, it's the same game, but you couldn't even see the hammer bro in World 8-4 that ran me down that one time. That was deeply terrifying. That was a good clip, by the way, whoever made it.
In response to you playing Mario, I went and tried to play Super Mario Brothers Advance, the one that's 2.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is too claustrophobic. It's weird. I have to go back to All Stars.
Yeah, but here's the thing, and you know, we mentioned this elsewhere. The NES, as in America, version of Mario 2 is the only version of that game that doesn't save. Every other version, the All-Stars version, the Advanced version, Doki Doki Panic, and I think, didn't they even bring over the rebranded as Mario version and called it Super Mario USA when they brought it back to Japan? And even that may have had a save function.
Maybe, yeah.
I'm not positive on that.
Maybe. I know Doki Doki does because it was I think it was a Famicom Disk System game.
It was, and weirdly enough, it doesn't use any of the additional instruments. That's so strange. Like Zelda 1 does, Zelda 2 does, but for some reason, that game just sounds identical. Castlevania 2 also sounds really different because the additional music instruments in the Famicom Disk System are all FM based. They're not they're not the style of chiptune that's in the NES.
Right.
So it sounds really different. It's really bassy a lot of the time with those. But Mario 2 and Doki Doki Panic just sound like the NES chip. It's just the NES chip. I love Mario 2. Playing Mario 2 again was great because I love Mario 2. It is so obvious why you would play Mario 2 as it came out in America and then play the Lost Levels and go, yeah, that's dog shit. So once again, I must say, what was it? Howard Phillips, we have to send our thanks.
Right.
That man is literally the GI in the picture, holding his arms out, protecting us all from fucking Lost Levels.
Yeah, I'm trying to, like, when did Mario 2 come out here? Like 89?
It's 88, 89, I think, because Mario 3 would have been 90. So 88,
It is October 88. That's way too late for fucking, here's a game that was a launch title, the exact same fucking game, but it's relentlessly difficult for no reason.
Yeah. And also, as I've said, from watching Game Center CX play through Mario 2 Japan, they have too much spring action. The springs in Mario 1 feel like crap.
Yeah, I don't know how they are that bad.
Yeah.
They're easily the worst feeling thing in that game.
Mario 1's an unassailable game. You literally cannot criticize Mario 1 and it not be farcical in and of itself because of when it came out and what it was.
Yeah.
It's like criticizing Doom for something. It's like,
right.
It's like, why didn't you also have this in addition to inventing a fucking genre?
Right. So really, it's not even Doom. I think its parallel is much better Wolfenstein 3D, because Doom aged better than Wolfenstein 3D, and Wolfenstein really is just the first. It's like crusty in certain ways, you know. Like Mario 1 is the Wolfenstein 3D of platformers for sure, and like. One of the things with with Mario 1 is like how little space they had on the cartridge to make that game. I remember the first time I got an NES ROM, legitimately, of Mario 1. And I was like, how the hell is it this small? That's insane. Like, I get those games are small, but just looking at, I've made text documents that could eat Mario 1.
Yeah. Yeah, it was crazy what they were able to do back then.
Yeah, absolutely impressive. It really does. It's reminiscent almost of Pitfall, where Pitfall, like, they didn't have the space to make levels for Pitfall, so it's all based on a number sequence. I can't remember the exact name for this sort of number sequence, but you generate the strain, the strain of numbers, and from that you generate each and every screen, and they're able to dependably do that with this formula. So they go, well, that's the game because it's the least bullshit version. It's 255 screens or whatever it was, but it's the one that's the least psychotic. So guess what? This whole game's number is 13 because we plug 13 into this formula and it generates the game based off of that. Weird. And Mario 1's kind of like that, where it's just like the clouds and the bushes are the same. We don't have space. All these castles use the same fucking backgrounds. All these castles use the same theme, the same element. And so, like, Mario 1, unassailable. I have nothing to say about it because whatever I could possibly say would be hideously stupid.
Yeah.
All I can say is what it reminds me of and its place in history. And then we can move on. Mario 2 is legit good, though. Mario 2 is a really great game. I'm glad it has a run button, unlike Japan. I'm glad the Game Boy Advance version lets you run with the R button. I kind of want to do a playthrough of that version now.
Yeah.
Because that is an important thing. Anyways, I'm moving on.
Fair.
So we hit Mario 3, which is like the first Mario you expect to have aged well, I feel like. You said something after the stream. We may have said it also during the stream, but you said something after the stream where you're like, it is truly shocking going through these Mario games and realizing they don't have that many songs in most of them.
Yeah.
And as a Mario 64 freak, I thought that was a uniquely Mario 64 problem.
Right.
Because it's like play the water level theme. You know, it's like Metroid, where Brinstar eventually came to be theme of fire in the Metroid franchise. Yeah. The Dire Docks theme is water theme for that game. But no, like Mario 3 has maybe 5-6 songs, and then the different songs for the overworld.
Yeah, it's really weird that there's so many different songs on the overworld, but not for the stages when, you know, 90% plus of the game is in stages.
Right.
So I don't know how that ended up happening.
It's to give you different vibes, you know? You get if you get the idea that you get the broad view of this is a different place. I'm in the sky. It's playing this theme that feels like it plugs into that aesthetic. It makes you feel like you're making progress and going to places and doing things. 100%ing that game is not a thing. Like playing through the way we played through is not a thing I feel like I would do regularly ever.
Yeah, I've never before, I don't think, gone through the game entirely and not been like using the whistle and warping and stuff.
Yeah,
that was always a really cool thing to do.
Yeah,
to make the game shorter, but that was just, you know, that happened.
Yeah, I would always just like use the flute and either skip to the end of the game or just skip to the little big world that's in 3.
Oh yeah, the little big worlds are really cool.
3 has a lot of cool worlds. They all have themes and ideas that plug into the levels and mechanics and things. 3's pretty great in that way. World is really lacking in that way because it doesn't really do that at all, even.
Yeah, you don't do that much of that, and you also don't have many powers. Like you have the cape in the fire flower, which seems bizarre. I thought that I must have just not remembered something, but no, that's it. That and then Yoshi.
Yeah, they plugged all of the ideas into Yoshi because Yoshi eats the blue shell and he can fly, or Yoshi eats the yellow shell and he can stomp, or Yoshi eats the red shell and he can shoot fire once. Like it wasn't an issue during our playthrough, but let me stress that's not okay. The other ones you get infinite use of, assuming you don't let Yoshi accidentally swallow and plummet to your death.
Right.
But all of the cool ideas, you know, your Tanuki suit and your Karibo shoe and all these things for Mario 3, they disappear and it becomes cape, firepower, Yoshi.
Yeah, and then a lot of it was like, okay, I need to go back to this level to get a Yoshi.
Yeah.
Like, that's not fun. I thought, like, I didn't play this next to Kirby back in the day. I played this well before I played any Kirby's.
Okay.
So when we got to a lot of things being structured kind of like a Kirby of go get the power from this stage and bring it to this stage so you can do this puzzle. I was like, oh, it's kind of like that.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Yeah, there's that super secret spot that you can unlock, which is just one screen. It has a cape, a fire flower, and a Yoshi in boxes, and you can go there as many times as you want.
Yeah, we did do that. That thing's sort of in one place on the map, and it's a pain to walk all the way back to.
Yep. But hey, that's part of why you unlock Star Road, so that way you can better get back to it. You can get back there slightly faster by making it one annoying screen you have to travel across instead of 3.
Right.
I guess Mario World more leans into having like weird gimmicks in the levels. Like there's that skull platform that you have to stand on, and there's all the saws and the pillars and stuff like it. I feel like it has more hazards built into the level that change how you have to act than Mario 3 does.
Possibly.
But even as a kid, I was like, where's all the cool suits from Mario 3? Where's my Hammer Brothers suit, which I would always save for Bowser and kill him in one hit because that's what it does.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Where's the frog suit? Like as a kid, for me, it was Tanuki and Frog.
Yeah, the frog suit was a ton of fun.
Yeah.
It made the water levels acceptable.
It felt weird because watching you use it in the water, I'm like, this shit just becomes like an arcade game where your movement is pushed down to go down.
Yeah.
Hit right to go right. This is Dig Dug. What have you done?
I use the superior form of playing the water level by skipping the entire water world using the whistle.
Ooh. Yeah, that's understandable. But you know, one of the things that I really got to appreciate on this, we didn't mention it yet. This was a Mario 10th massive Mario marathon.
Yeah. On Mario Day.
Yes, on Mario Day. Followed up by, what was it? Marie Day, because March 13th, and then Maria Day, which is March 14th. One of the things doing it like that really helped me understand that, like, I didn't ever get to do before because I'm not a Mario freak, I'm a Mega Man freak, is how each of them controls a little different.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I never got used to any of them because we
because
just
we
like,
change it.
Right, we change it, and I'd be like, I'm trying to move like in 1, but now we're in 2, and it's all weird.
And we get to World, and I'm like, this is really genuinely great feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is the best feeling Mario game. You can finally toss the shell straight up. You know, you have all these tight controls compared to the other ones. They felt like I wish we were there, but I wish we had the power-ups and world theming from 3.
Yeah,
And that would be the perfect game.
If we had a version of World that was just 3, that would be really cool.
And now I get to tell yet again the story that I feel like people need to know. Just like when they went to make Sonic 3, and Sonic Team was like, we're going to make an isometric 3D game. And eventually they realized this is bad. Don't do that. We'll let someone else make that idea for a game.
Mm-hmm.
Mario went through the same thing. So at the beginning of development, Mario 3 is an isometric 3D faux 3D game.
On the
I'm
NES?
I'm like, everyone loses their mind after making a platforming game twice, apparently.
Yeah, they can't handle it.
That's delightful. That's really funny. Kind of makes sense. Like, you can almost see that with the Jack games, where the third one's like, we love vehicles.
I mean, Jack has that problem hardcore with every game.
Well, Jack 2, Jack 2 is that huge tonal shift for marketing reasons. But Jack 3 really is we lean into the vehicles really hard. We lean into the mini games really hard.
I mean, even 2 is like, it's GTA now?
Yes.
Like, it's completely structural change.
Yeah, it's
not
true.
at all like the first game.
And Crash 3 also has that sort of deviation where it's not just the standard gameplay, it's all that side stuff. But I find that cool in Crash 3, and honestly, I enjoyed Jack 3 the most of the first 3, I think. Like, it's a shame it directly follows up 2 and has to deal with a lot of stuff from 2.
Right.
Because I think 3 was a really good balance. Story-wise, I also think 3 fires a lot better than 2 ever did.
Did Amy Hennig work on Jack?
Yes. Amy Hennig
I was
wrote
just
Jack
like,
3.
Jack sure has a lot of fucking time loops and
Yeah,
you see a statue of a character and go back in time and become that character. She sure has one fucking thing she can write, doesn't she?
She only got involved with Jack 3, which means she's integral to the loop, the time. Spoilers for Jack 3. Go watch Jacktober already, or play the damn game. She's responsible for the guy at the outskirts whose son was taken by the city is in fact Jack's dad. And it was you in the past that you met in the second game. And I'm like, oh man, between that and the alien thing.
And I think they establish in Jack 3, or they say it, or one of the devs said it in some fucking outside thing, because it's like we're never making any more. That like the big hero of the Outsiders that you collect his armor is Jack, who went back in time again and became that guy.
Yeah, that's you. That is who Jack is, which is why the thought of making future Jack games, like Jack games that occur after that, was really interesting, but also really weird.
And then they made Lost Frontier, which completely ignores 2 and sort of 3. Like, it kind of ignores both of them. It's this weird continuation from 1, sort of, because it's definitely after 2. Like, it's definitely in the same time as 2 and 3, but there's this weird element where it doesn't talk about any of that, and girl sidekick is talking about how she's training to become an eco sage, which wasn't something they mentioned since like 1.
Yeah, Lost Frontier has a lot of 1 vibes, and it feels a bit more whole cloth with 1 and the franchise as a whole, because it does continue on things and ideas from like 2 and 3 and Daxter, kind of.
It was kind of like a soft reboot, like not extremely, but it's there, and it feels like it could have been the start of something new and cool, but instead it's like, we put this on a portable.
We didn't give it enough money. We didn't give it enough time in the oven.
Yeah.
Lost Frontier could have actually been the groundwork for a really interesting and amazing Jack game. But instead it's just kind of an okay portable Jack game. Like, not a great one, kind of mediocre. You want a great portable Jack game? Let me tell you about this game called Daxter. Absolutely 0% Jack. All Daxter.
You think that'd make a terrible game, but instead,
Yeah, it said somehow it was like one of the best Jack games.
Yeah, that was probably the best Jack game.
Anyways, we're getting sidetracked.
really out in the woods.
Look, I just love talking about platformers. It doesn't come up enough on the channel because they haven't made a fucking game in the genre in forever, except for Demon Turf. I love platformers, 2D and 3D.
Mm-hmm.
I love them so much, and it's really sad when we got to a point. It felt like what cinema did a little bit with certain genres of movies, where they just went, well, you can't really make a new one of those. Like, yeah, you can. You just stopped. But I'm glad that Bob got to see Mario Land 2, Aggro, because he never really played it at all.
Yeah, we played it on a retro roulette or something, but I never played like all the way through. I
Yeah.
hardly knew anything about it. I still
It
love
is-
Land 1.
Yeah, but I mean, 6 golden coins.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, the 6 coins is absolutely an actually good game. Land 1 is Dan describes it as a calculator game, which
Yeah,
is
it's a
absolutely
TI.
accurate.
Yeah, it is.
It absolutely is. I played it on a TI-84 calculator. There was no meaningful difference in how it felt or operated.
There's just something so charming about its jank.
I mean, also has a fucking top-tier soundtrack.
It does.
Yeah, Hip Tanaka was really on his shit when he did
And
that
that-
one.
And they gave us Daisy, and without that, we wouldn't have saved you a click video games.
Right?
That's true.
Best thing Mario Land gave us. Is Valiant Comics put out a comic series called Game Boy.
Mm.
And the plot was Tatanga and Mario come through a Game Boy into the real world. And this is the comic series that has a dude who like lives alone with his mom and storms around ranting about how liberal politicians should be strung up and steals from the Radio Shack he works at.
What?
That is how Tatanga gets into the real world, because the comic opens on him repeatedly getting to the last level and letting Tatanga kill Mario, so you know he's evil. And then he steals from his Radio Shack job and opens the portal with the Game Boy to accidentally let Tatanga through. These comics are on archive.org if you want to go read them. They are it is called Game Boy, and it's by Valiant Comics.
Cool.
Wow.
For some reason, I'm imagining this kid as a character from Batman Beyond.
Oh no,
just
it's
like
not
the
a kid, it's a
most depressed-
35-year-old man.
Okay.
Wow.
Well, it still could look like him, where he's just like the
Here,
most
let me
depressed
give you
class
a-
of people,
let me-
gamers.
Let me give you a great image of him, because I posted them on Twitter for Mario Day.
Oh man, we missed it, understandably, because we were trapped in the chamber.
Right.
Let's see what we got here. Let me
Oh
try
my
to-
god.
Oh,
Oh my god.
What? Okay, something's coming to mind as I stare at this. I'm trying to think about what exactly. This is terrible.
The great thing about this guy is he's talking about how he was almost mugged and fought them off. That was a homeless veteran asking for change.
What?
Oh.
What? What in the world?
What if we just wrote history's greatest villain?
Yeah,
Man,
he's the greatest Mario character from extended media. Your racist Facebook uncle.
well, there you go, guys. There's your racist Facebook uncle. He seems really cool. Oh man, I'm gonna need to edit that last image to be any number of different fucking things.
Yeah, it looks edited already.
You're right. They're like, this is how the box looks. Fuck. Okay, all right. Okay, we gotta move on. I had a great time doing that Mario marathon. I would love to do a 3D one.
Mm-hmm.
Because while I played the hell out of Mario games, 2D platformer Marios as a kid, but there is like a hard cutoff point where I just don't anymore, and I keep playing the Mega Man games, the Mega Man X games, and Mario 64 from that point on. Like-
Yeah, like I also had that same sort of thing happen. Mario 64 came out and just made me like, this is the good one. And I just didn't go back after.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Like, aside from the Game Boy Advance, which, you know, I love Mario too. So, of course, I got that at the launch. Super Mario Advance, great game. Absolutely great game. There's just something about Mario 64 that completely lands. It feels like a cohesive whole, and it feels like they did such an amazing job on their first time out. Because you don't go back then to 1996 and play a slew of 3D platformers. And let me know how you, and I mean literally feel by the end of that, because you might feel sick. Like you ate something wrong. But yeah, anyways, I don't have a whole lot else to say other than beat Mario 64 in under 2 hours and 30 minutes.
Yeah, that run was insane.
Closer to 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm going to pretend that's how it goes every time I do it, because it was such a fucking really great run for me that probably is my personal best. But let's pretend I just do that every day. I just shit gold every day, because I only do like 1, maybe 2 fuck up deaths in the entire run. And one of them was me intentionally setting up to do a thing that as I'm trying to do this, it was on Little Big World.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sitting there describing what I'm doing as a stupid idea, because what I'm going to do is get the star that's floating on the land. Like I touched the 5 secret spots. Mm-hmm. And the star spawned on an island floating in the middle of the void, the death void, because this is one of the weirdest levels in Mario 64. It's just not done, basically. But I'm going to go to the top of the island and just do a long jump and hope.
Right.
But because that involved, and I was rushing, going around the thin, tiny platform around it to get to the top, I just slipped, fell, and landed on my dick. But yeah, I only have like 2 really stupid deaths in that whole run. But I would love to have like a strong ass 3D Mario stream. But as I looked at the how long to beats for each of them, I realized, man, you can't really include Odyssey and Galaxy 2, because Galaxy 2 is longer than Odyssey.
That's still crazy.
That is insane. That is nuts.
You could just cut Sunshine because you did that one already. Although I guess you did Galaxy already.
I
too.
think, yeah, we did Galaxy already, and I think a lot of people would be upset if we cut Sunshine.
At the same time, Galaxy 1 and 2 are just so much better of games that.
But I'm like, I really want to play Sunshine at 60 frames per second.
Oh, okay. If we get that
I
working.
really want to play that version. I really want that, because that is the game that should have shipped on the fucking GameCube. And for anyone who doesn't know, you can run it at 60 on a Wii. Like, they just barely didn't have enough horsepower to run it at 60, which they showed it off as before they released it.
Right.
They just barely didn't have enough horsepower to run it like that in the final game. But, you know, I'll call my shot here before we get back there. One of the amazing things about 64 is there are a bunch of different themes for levels, and Sunshine is sorely lacking on that front, as it's just all tropical.
We're on a vacation. There's one thing.
It's really
there's also
unfortunate.
Carnival.
Yeah, there's Carnival. There's Hotel. These are things you love and want more of.
Yeah, somehow makes a worse like booze haunt. The
Big Booze Haunt time to version 2, a shitty hotel with claustrophobic camera angles. Anyways, if you guys want to take to the comment section of this big thing and let me know what you think on the topic of, should we skip Sunshine in order to do Galaxy 2? Or should we skip Galaxy 2 or 1? You know, what would you want to see in a 3D Mario marathon? You know, if I had all the power in the world, I'd do them all, but you know, 32 hours as a marathon, it's kind of pushing it.
It is a lot.
It's a lot. Anyways, I think, did you have anything else you wanted to say about Mario?
No, not about the marathon we did. I did play a little bit of other Mario other than that.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You need to talk about that. And just to say it one last time in a salient form, in case I didn't really before, I had a strong appreciation for these games coming back to them. I played so much of them as a kid. That's why it stopped. I played so much Mario 1, 2, and 3 and World in the first 10 years of my life that I was good until now.
Yeah. I had a similar thing where I thought I would like these more coming back because I did play them religiously back then.
Yeah.
But I just couldn't get into it again.
Really?
I couldn't get into the groove. It just didn't feel good to me. Which I'm not saying these games are bad.
Right,
That's
yeah.
crazy.
You're right.
But it's just I don't want to play them.
Are we sure I'm reborn? I think Bob's reborn. He's about to tell us all Mario sucks and was never good. I love Mario 2 and 3.
They're really neat.
I think World
cool.
feels a little hollow because it's rushed. Everyone who loves Mario World would really love it if we had a finished good version
Oh yeah.
of Mario World.
Yeah, there's definitely things that just felt weird going through that.
I mean, everyone in the world knows how many bugs are in that game and other things that are just like, this is a real hodgepodge code base. Jesus. But
I mean, so is 64. Like,
yes.
any Nintendo 64 game being speedrun is like, we're gonna trick you into turning Inside Out and giving us the ending screen.
Yes. And no, that's true. But that's the thing. See how your comparison was the first 3D platformer on a Nintendo system. Like when your fourth Mario game, for some reason, matches up with that on levels of weird coding to get it done. That says a lot. Because that Mario 64 is a fucking amazingly solid 3D platformer for 1996. Like, Crash Bandicoot does not move in a way that would work for the type of game 64 is.
Yeah, also Crash Bandicoot's basically a 2.5D platformer.
Right, right. And that's the thing. The movement sort of works for that. It still doesn't feel as good as a 2D Mario.
No.
In a lot of ways. But even if it was expanded out and gameplay-wise, it was trying to be one of these exploratory 3D platformers. It wouldn't have the movement to make that feel good. You know, it's more Bubsy 3D-like in its movement. Obviously, it's not that bad. Nothing is, except for Bubsy 3D and the other forsaken 3D platformers of the early PS1.
Croc!
Yeah, you know what's a real croc? Anyway. Croc's probably after all of these, Bob, timeline-wise.
I know, but it has the feel of a game released next to Mario 64.
You have to steer Croc. That says everything I have to about the game feel of Croc. He moves like Tomb Raider. Anyway, I'm done with that. But we didn't spend enough time talking about Mario 2. Mario Land 2.
Oh, yeah.
Is a very cool game. I'm glad Bob got to see it. I realized watching Bob play through that game, I played a lot more of that game than I thought. I thought I only beat the game. I guess I've played basically the entire game before. I just forgot.
It's weird. I really like Land 1 and 2 a lot. Those two are still really fun.
It would be so cool if they remade Land 2.
It was also cool to find out all this stuff that just ended up in Odyssey from those. Like we got to like a Steam powered world. I was like, wait, are these the things they put in that Steam garden?
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, no, that guy loves the Land series. That's why 3D Land
we
is
need to
3D
bring
Land.
back we need to bring back Mario Zone in one of these games.
Yes.
Yes.
Crawl into the giant Mario. You are now entering your worst nightmare.
Heck, even Land has the spaceship, which basically is all of Odyssey. Like you go around in your spaceship.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you think when we do the 3D Mario marathon that I can play Odyssey without crying this time?
No.
That's going to suck to do on stream.
Oh, yeah.
Dan, why are you crying? Because this is so good. It told me it wasn't possible.
Mario's been through so much.
Yeah, no, it feels like the end of Metal Gear Solid 3 to me.
There was like a really dark time where like I like Mario 3D World a lot. I bought it on sale, and we're gonna find out if I still like it after I replay it.
Ooh.
But there was just this period where it's like where we get that and 3D Land and New Super Mario Bros.
Yeah.
There was like I feel like there was like a 7-year span between Galaxy 2 and Odyssey where it's just like they don't really have unique. You're not going through like worlds anymore. You're going through levels. And there isn't really anything approaching like it's not like a cohesive world. It's like as abstract as possible. Like it's Mario 3 overworld map. They're really fucking beholden to the Mario 1 pole at the end of the level, which is like the worst form of clinging to iconography, in my opinion.
Yeah. Those games are so filled with that. We're trying to make a 2D Mario in 3D. Like it's a neat idea, but it's not 3D Mario. Like that's a very different thing.
Right. And
yeah,
like,
I really need to play Super Mario 3D World and find out if I actually liked that game or I liked the game I played where two people I were playing with solely existed to sabotage me. So I was playing like some weird Dante Must Die mode of the game that was a lot more engaging.
Yeah, that's what that game is built for. Like I tried to play it on my own and I'm just like, this feels so hollow. And then we play it with friends, and it is just goofy, kill each other, and
Right.
that's fun in its own way, but it didn't satisfy me on playing a Mario game way at all.
Which is
Like,
weird because I feel like New Super Mario Bros. U actually does function in both realms correctly.
I do too. Like I remember thinking that liking that a lot more.
I've been playing that, but it also kind of feels weirdly hollow.
Okay.
Not too surprising.
Like for one, the ice flower is stupid. That's a stupid power. It's just bad. I'm sorry.
Chris Reborn.
Two, first of all, thank God to whoever, I'm sure they have been fired by now, like fought off all the fucking security guards trying to tackle them and put in that cheat in the Switch version that makes the controls correct.
Yes. Thank God.
Yes.
God bless them.
If you don't know, in Super Mario Brothers, I think it's only you. I don't think we or any of the others have it. You can do like a spin in the air, and it gives you a little bit of like horizontal momentum. So you can extend your jump by doing it.
Yeah,
You
it
can do
gives
it
you
multiple times in a jump. It's
the
movement
lightest
tech.
amount of hover. So that way you're doing your falling arc and you can do it to break your vertical momentum. And this, I believe, is also in the Wii, but this is an optional movement thing in the Wii and U. You have to shake the controller to do it.
Right.
In the Switch version, inexplicably, by default, you also do it if you hit jump again in the air. So something that will happen a lot if you play without this cheat is, you're rushing through a Mario level. You want to jump again as soon as you make contact with the ground. You were 1 frame 2 second. Now you hovered and fell into a fucking pit.
Yeah.
Because you extended your jump. So if you boot that game, just hold the left stick on the Joy-Con. I don't think it fucking works with a Pro controller. I think you have to break out the Joy-Con to make it work.
Oh my God.
Just hold that as the game loads, and you'll hear like a voice clip of Nabbit if it works, and that turns it off of being on the jump button. It only works if you hit the shoulder button now, which is the way it should have fucking worked from the get.
Yeah, that person is a hero. We should give them a fucking congressional medal. I would not have bought that game if it did not have that code. I'm not exaggerating. That is not how a game should work.
No.
And it's insane that they did that. But yeah, Mario Land 2's really cool.
Yeah.
But I was going to add to Chris's point,
Yeah.
actually. So everything Chris said, but also, where did we leave the normal 3D Mario series without a camera control function?
Yeah, because it was on the Wii.
Mario 64's worst sin is the camera. And you motherfuckers made 2 more games. Well, then they made 2 for one of the... But anyways, they get to that third 3D Mario and they go, oh, there's no right analog stick. What we gonna do? And I'm like, you can't leave it like this, you guys. What are you doing? So the fact they left it like that for almost a decade or 7 years or whatever, it felt like an eternity. Because everyone else stopped making 3D platformers. And then they just keep doing New Super Mario Bros. They keep doing 3D lands and 3D worlds. And while those are all neat, at least once the New Super Mario Bros. Got a U at the end of it, and Mario 3D Land, I assume, was neat. I didn't get to play it. I was personally wounded until Odyssey happened. And that fucked me up.
It is weird how I've said this a bunch of times where Switch was just Nintendo going, we're gonna reinvent our franchises and make like the best versions of every single one of them. Mario, Zelda, Metroid, debatably Pokemon. If it fucking ran better, it would not be debatably.
Right.
Correct, yes.
Obviously the best Animal Crossing because it sold 40 million copies more than any other game in human history.
And then they said, wow, it's going to be really hard to make the best in all of these entries. Where should we siphon this evil energy from? And then they sapped all of the life force of the sports games and put them into these.
I am predicting a bright future for the sports games because those are obviously just like, we fucking need something in this quarter. It doesn't have time to be done, so push it out. And then Nintendo, like we said, like we reported last year, is like, we're gonna double our internal development teams
Yeah,
We're gonna double the amount of games we can make.
I hope you're right, because the problem with the golf game isn't even the shit that's the problem with most of them. Because a lot of people are like, oh, the golf game's not done. I'm like, that's not the fucking problem. The problem with the golf game is they arbitrarily changed how this and all these other great golf games have controlled for the last 3+ decades to come up with their own quirky mode for it to work with. So that way and additionally, they had the run after the golf ball mode for that. So the control scheme's fucked up, and you spend most of that game running after your ball.
Yeah,
This isn't a content complete problem. This is a you reinvented the
Miyamoto
wheel.
wandering the halls like Mr. X ruining projects.
Yes,
it feels like that.
He's holding them up by their head. God. Since the Game Boy Color, I had wanted the console Mario Golf that was the RPG. And then they did that. It was the worst way they could have done that for no reason. If there was a reason, I could rationalize an end of this era. But since there's no reason, I just have to sit here and be like, everything's fucked. I don't know. Anyway. Tie a little neat bow on that topic. We're just going to put that over there. I guess we're going to get into things we played that aren't Mario.
Okay.
I also played Super Mario 64 DS.
Not Mario, right?
Definitely. Well, I mean, you haven't played it yet, have you?
No,
You have not played Super Mario 64 DS since the DS came out 19 years ago.
Yeah, even then, I mostly played some mini games and played the opening and was really upset I was Yoshi and he controlled wrong. So then I just stopped.
Mario 64 DS starts to feel more like Croc in a way, because you have to operate him on a D-pad.
That's not true, Dan. You can use that stupid fucking thumb thing they gave you with and use the fucking touchscreen as an analog joypad. I have no idea how that works. I assume it's bad. Or you could do what the biggest copers in the world did, and I saw multiple people recommend, which is Scotch tape a quarter to the D-pad.
Oh, that's insane. That doesn't fix it, because here's the thing. Fundamentally,
I know.
right. But what you don't know is fundamentally the movement in Mario 64 DS is literally nothing like 64. Because as I said, you steer Mario. If you start running a direction and you hit left, Mario doesn't go to the left immediately. He starts turning like a car. They took the single worst aspect of Mario 64 movement and made it a veritable necessity to get this motherfucker to go the direction you want. It is insane. But there's also a lot of quirky content, and you start the game as Yoshi, and he puts on a Mario hat and pretends to be Mario to people, and they're like, oh, Mario, it's been a while since I saw you. You want to do a race up this mountain? And Yoshi's like, I am Mario. Give me your social security number. But it was $10 on the Wii U. And the eShop on that's closing soon. And the experience of playing DS games on the Wii U is so good, it almost made me sad the Wii U failed. Almost. Because the Wii U made basically... it is the Vita of Nintendo systems. So it deserved to fail. Unlike the Vita. But...
No, the Vita deserved to fail. Let's not fucking get confused here.
No, the Vita has a micro-switch D-pad, and it is the most comfortable portable ever made. I don't think it as objectively deserved to fail.
The combination of we have to make our proprietary memory smaller so no one can make an adapter.
Yes, that's hideously stupid.
The fact they were like, it's also going to work like your phone, so there's a 3G one.
That is also hideously stupid.
Also, the back touchpad was stupid.
That is also stupid.
So yes, it didn't deserve to fail as much as the Wii U deserved to fail, which had a fucking Blu-ray drive but did not install games to the fucking console, so you have 2-minute load times. But it still deserved to fail.
I've been using a lot of the Wii U in the last week, and let me tell you, it is inexcusable. That thing is absolutely a 7th gen console that shipped like 5 years too late. It's so bizarre. It is probably Nintendo's worst system outside of the Virtual Boy.
It is one of those weird times where Nintendo, like, you read their logic and it's like, people like using an iPad. They'd like it if we attached an iPad to the console. And I'm like, whoever suggested that should be in a steel drum at the bottom of Tokyo Bay.
Yeah, because this system could have been affordable if they didn't put the
Yeah,
Wii U gimmick on it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, this console is the second screen experience console. It is both literally that and also metaphorically the brain rot that was the E3 2013 second screen experience, sort of Silicon Valley brain rot infused as a console.
Man, it seems insane.
Mm-hmm.
It's like every possible wrong choice they could make. Like they could even have done a much more toned down and tried to do like a tiny little touchscreen down there so you could put extra options and buttons on.
I mean, yeah, you could have made the controller literally half the size and fit a small touchscreen.
Instead, they made this monstrosity that was obviously too expensive.
Yeah, this Game Gear Plus sized motherfucker.
Yeah.
But you know, playing DS games on the Wii U is so good that tomorrow we're gonna beat Super Mario 64 DS for the first time in my life. I've beaten normal Mario 64 like 24 times or something psychotic, and that's a low estimate. But I've never once beaten Mario 64 DS, and this feels like the way it was intended to be done. I get to see it on a screen. It's got an unreasonably crisp video output.
Right.
So we're going to be doing that, and I'm going to be enjoying every time Bob has a stroke, because I've played enough of it where I got reminded of a few things that I got to experience in the time I actually gave it back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
I've only gotten about 16 stars in back when I had it on the DS, and then I just gave up. So there's so much of this I'm just going to be floored by. Absolutely floored by it. I'm really excited for that.
Yeah, just seeing what they had done to like that tower that has the owl and the brick wall man you fight.
Yeah.
Even that blew my mind.
Just visually, you're
like
like
the what they changed about that stage, all the stuff they just added.
Mm-hmm.
It's just bizarre.
Yeah, they just have that whole trim all the way around, so that way you can't fall to your death on a certain side if you're within a certain perimeter. It's really fascinating.
Yeah.
I had a coworker at CVS, and he was a great guy, and I loved talking to him, and we shared a lot of interests, like Sonic the Hedgehog. And this is actually the guy who lent me Knuckles Chaotix and his 32X for our video of that back in the old Sonic month. But he described Sonic Mania as feeling like a fan game. And I never saw eye to eye with him on that. I was like, Sonic Mania is really great, though. It feels fantastic. I love this thing. Super Mario 64 DS feels like a fan game. I've played ROM hacks of Mario 64 that feel more like a real thing that they would do with it than this game, that it's insane.
Yeah, just seeing the tiny bit you playing it on the Wii U a few days ago, I was like, this seems like Donkey Kong 64.
They did it. We actually, before you said that, and noticed that, somebody did reply to me on Twitter. It's just like, they turned Mario 64 into Donkey Kong 64, so get ready for that. And I'm like, oh, wow. So I'm really excited for the stream. I am so jazzed for the stream. Like this is Dan contends with a being he could barely perceive. Like it feels like a Twilight Zone episode. It's human shaped, but it doesn't speak my language. And you watch as our hero confronts this terror.
It's gonna be like the end of fucking Earthbound. Dan is gonna boot up the game, and it's just gonna be like a distorted version of his face staring back at him.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be wide faced, just dome staring at me, and I'm
Bob
like,
has to drop to his knees and start praying 12 times in order to defeat it.
It's the only way. It's the only way through. But aside from that, I didn't really play anything in the last week. We ate that Double Down, and we ate it during the one day we couldn't get Diablo 4 beta codes for eating a Double Down. They literally started on day 3. We ate the Double Down on day 2. Luckily, 2 different members of the fan base gave us codes. So Bob and I will be playing the Diablo 4 beta sometime this weekend.
Yay.
I need to know.
Yeah, I'm super excited. That game actually looked pretty good from what they showed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I am more excited for this than I feel like I ever was for Diablo 3 past the very first stuff where they're like, here's this character class. Remember the character class trailers?
Yes.
Yeah, there was like 1 or 2 of those where I was like, this seems neat. But I'm still more hyped for 4 based on the gameplay things they showed me than I ever was for 3.
Yeah, 3 was really like, I lost a lot of hype leading up to launch because I feel like there was that initial thing of, oh, they're doing a new one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to take them like 5 years. It'll be great when it comes out. And then we started seeing it and it was like, oh no,
Yeah.
this doesn't look right.
Whereas StarCraft 2, I felt really landed it.
Yeah.
Yeah, StarCraft 2 was just really sick.
Right.
Yeah. And then Diablo 3 has all sorts of plot things that make me want to put them in a blender.
Yeah. Yeah. 4 really, I hope it just cancels everything that happened in 3.
I really enjoyed the first StarCraft 2, and then there was 2 more I didn't play.
Yeah, there were 2 more I didn't play because I ain't no sucker. I'm not going to pay $50 for expansions twice.
And based on what I know, it just degraded into the only story Blizzard has now, which is the bigger, eviler dark god from beyond the veil corrupted them and made them evil. Something that I think they have trotted out no fewer than like 9 times.
Holy shit.
We're kind of finding it in Overwatch lore, I'm sure.
That's amazing.
Somebody told me it's already in Overwatch lore, like they're hinting at some additional evil organization that is behind things.
Yes, but hopefully they're not an extra dimensional god beast who's persuading everyone's brains. Anyways, I just want to say if you have a Wii U and you're interested, check out the DS stuff on there. There are 31 games on there. I'm literally looking at getting them all because it's such a great way to play these. And before anyone says, oh, you can play way more than 31 games if you inject the ROMs, ha ha ha, they don't work. Like, a huge amount of them do not work. I wish they did. We would have done Pokemon Mondays that way.
Right.
But sadly, no. I literally looked into it for Pokemon Black and White. But no, it doesn't. And so, in some sick way, Nintendo has made me even slightly sad the Wii U failed. Even though I know it deserved it. I know.
Right?
It's gross.
That is going to be a really cool way to play Zelda Phantom Hourglass.
Yeah,
we booted that up and I was like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oof.
We picked up both Spirit Tracks and Phantom Hourglass. We picked up the WarioWare game and the Wario game. We're getting tons of them because I love the DS. It has a great library. I just wish there was some way to play it better for streams because those DS capture units suck.
Yeah.
That's great, Dan, because nobody actually knows what is in Spirit Tracks because nobody has ever beaten it.
True.
I remember, here's the only thing I fucking in my brain about Spirit Tracks.
Mm-hmm.
That it prompted some psycho whenever it came out, like in 2010. I forget fucking when that game came out. It was late DS.
Mm-hmm.
On 4chan, made a version of the Sonic Cycle image with Zelda. Entirely because they were so tilted by Spirit Tracks.
Yeah, I remember people tried to push that once. It was for such a small amount of time, and it's like if you took if you were a door-to-door salesman who didn't even get one sale. That's what that idea felt like.
Yeah,
because it's like, no, I don't know what's in Spirit Tracks, but no,
right? It's like, guys, Zelda has a really solid track record. What are you doing?
I bet Spirit Tracks is like at worst a C.
Right?
Prior to Dark Souls, Zelda had probably had the highest track records of 10s of any game franchise. Anyway, I'm done talking about my shit. We now go to Bob. Hey, Bob, what did you play that totally wasn't Mario?
Well, before I get into that, I want to talk about Coke Move.
That's this our sponsor for today?
Is this the pink one?
Yeah, it's the pink one. This thing's weird.
Yeah.
I think it has the aftertaste of jelly beans that are popcorn flavored. Yeah. It's a very specific taste. That's
I got you.
Super weird. I like it. I don't know if I wish they'd sold it in the 12 pack or something because I'm not buying another bottle. I don't think.
I think they do.
Oh, do
I
they?
think
they
Walmart
do.
has
Yeah,
like
I've
a
seen
6-pack or something.
Okay.
Yeah.
maybe.
I feel like I saw a case of cans, which is cans are my preferred way of drinking soda because they get real cold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. When I tried it, because I tried both the normal and the diet.
Yeah.
At first, my way of describing it was cinnamon without the bite, Like if you take the almost fruity end of cinnamon and make that its own flavor. Tosh described it as a pina colada flavor.
Huh.
So there you go, guys. 3 distinctly incongruent descriptions for this flavor.
But it's useful for triangulation.
Yes, if we use these, we can find it. We can find the secrets of the dark water.
But that's all I had to say about that. I just
Okay.
wanted to see if anyone else has tried it and can agree with any of our flavor descriptions.
True Storm in chat. I bet it goes great when eating a double down, Bob. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Nothing goes great with a double down. Nothing could save you. I'm sorry.
The only thing that pairs well with the double down is a will.
God, I'm so happy someone from the fan base gave me a Diablo code.
Oh,
'cause
yeah.
I did not want to order another double down.
But you were gonna, weren't you?
I was considering it.
Bob just shows up at Aggro's door. Double down?
You know, you can throw garbage away. Just walk up to the counter like, hey man, can I get a Diablo code? I will pay you any amount of money to not hand me a double down.
Please, anyone, just give it to anyone else. And that guy walks in, free double down.
Bob puts up signs around town like he's having an estate sale, and it's just him sitting on his lawn with a double down on a fucking tray, and he's just like, No? Okay. That's all I have to sell.
But other than that, I did play video games.
Okay, what did you play?
I didn't get to touch Mario 64 while we were playing on stream. That was just you doing your insane run. So after the stream, I went and figured out how to download the PC port and all the weird mods that are going on. So I got to try the Render 96 mod,
Yes.
which makes it look like those magazine renders that were out.
Yeah.
And so it's got really weird, hyper-realistic graphics for Mario in a few stages.
Yeah, the ones that are like on the SGI workstations. So they
Mhm.
look like even better than Donkey Kong Country.
Yes.
Like
yeah,
cranked way high up fidelity wise.
I was disappointed because it's not at all fully done yet.
No.
I don't know if it ever will be.
No, that's why you've never seen me play it
Mhm.
because of that, and I couldn't get ray tracing working with it. Those
Right.
were the reasons.
That makes sense.
Which we played it. I forgot to say this. We played the PC decompilation for that stream. I did not install the camera fix mod because it still doesn't control how I want a camera to control. It's just wrong.
Yeah, the camera, the fixed camera just goes through walls. Like it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's really weird and wonky.
Which I'll kind of take that over what Mario 64 does originally, but also it's still not there. So I'm just like movement wise. So I did. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, we played the ray trace Mario 64 for the stream. That was neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, then this Render 96 one is really neat. Like they did a new model for Mario and for strangely not any of the castle, but a bunch of random levels
And items like coins.
Yeah,
They
coins
have
and
insanely
doors
high fidelity coins that I love.
and high fidelity trees, which don't work right. Like there's a 3D model for the tree that is a 2D object, so you're still
Yeah.
like you move the camera and it moves like it would.
Yeah,
when
okay.
it's 2D.
You guys have played Mario 64 probably, or at least seen footage of it. All of the trees are 2D billboards, as they call them in video games, that are camera facing. Well, this is a 3D model that is still camera facing.
Yes.
And you can tell it's a 3D model because the back branches move on a different layer because it's once again a 3D model. And I'm just like, why did you do this?
It's bizarre.
Export the 3D image and make that a billboard.
No,
What are
no.
you doing?
No, it wouldn't be high res enough.
Either make the tree 3D or make a high-end picture. Anyway.
This mod also does really weird stuff like adding in playable Wario and Luigi. I couldn't figure out how to get them unlocked though, but like in that secret area where you can go do the slide in the very first like part of the castle, they put a pipe in there you can jump in, and there's like obvious pipes to switch between characters, but they're all locked.
Yeah, so that is clearly Mario 64 DS inspired.
Yeah.
'Cause that's where you also find and free your other allies.
Mm-hmm. And they hid random keys in different areas. Like I found a key in like the aquarium you can go into the secret area next to the Dire Docks. Or not Dire Docks, the first water level.
No, I think that is.
Okay, that is.
Yeah.
Or no, that's Jolly Roger Bay, isn't it?
I think Jolly Roger Bay is where Bowser is later. I don't know. I never.
No,
keep it
that's
straight.
Dire Docks. Dire Docks is where Bowser is. and Jolly Roger Bay
You've
is the
noticed
first
I
one.
never say the name of any level in Mario 64. You notice that?
Yeah.
You ever notice I never say the name of any levels? They all have levels. Even the Bowser levels have names,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You never hear me say any of them. Because I'm just going to say a dumb version my kid brain came up with 20 plus years ago. What's your favorite level? Magma land. big little island.
Yeah.
What's your favorite Mario 64 level? Little Big Planet.
It's my favorite.
Yeah, exactly. Bowser in the Dark World, Bowser in the Fire Sea, Bowser in the Sky. I'm never gonna remember those.
No, I'm sorry.
I don't care.
Mario 64 is still really great. Like I keep thinking they'll come back and there's some part of it won't click, but I'm like, no, that's still like immaculate feeling 3D platformer.
You know what really reinforces that idea that you're gonna come back and hate it?
Yeah.
You being next to me watching not one, not two, not three, but like 7 different people I follow on Twitch play Mario 64 for what is basically the first time and just go, holy shit, this is rough.
It looks like an alien playing it to me. I'm like,
I mean, a lot of those people I've watched.
No, it just controls right. Like,
I've watched-
what's wrong?
I've watched multiple of those people not move the camera no matter what. And that is the funniest thing to see someone do in a 3D platform. They're like, I can't see around the corner.
how could Mario do this to me? There was nothing there. You jumped off the ledge. I don't know why.
I love it. Just to be clear, this is my favorite thing on Twitch.
These are the people that Nintendo made that fucking DVD that came with Galaxy for, whereas we will now explain how to control a 3D video game.
I've never seen this one.
I think it was only in the PAL region, but there was some Wii game where Nintendo literally included a bonus DVD that was like, we will now explain what a video game is to you.
I was gonna say, Bob's only came with a coin. You remember the coin?
Yes, I got the Galaxy coin.
Yeah. You see that Super Mario Broth tweet where it was like, did you know there are half as many polygons in the coins in Odyssey as there
Okay, it
are
was
in
Galaxy
Sunshine?
2. It was
Huh.
Galaxy 2 that had the DVD.
Okay, there we go. Every version but the US says chat.
That's hilarious.
That is really good. But yeah, Super Mario Broth said the coin in Odyssey is literally just a cylinder. There's no details on it at all. All of that is done through effects like normal maps and like what was it, roughness.
That's pretty cool.
Maps. Yeah, I'm like, oh, that was fucking cool.
Here's a weird thing I noticed. Do you remember this weird era, like between Galaxy 2 and Odyssey, where people were like, well, 2D Marios are obviously more successful because they're better for beginners. So Nintendo will eventually just move to only making those.
I mean, I've had to deal with 27 years of my life where people were just like, well, the 2D Marios are better.
There was that
I
weird
do remember
narrative,
this
and then
exactly this narrative.
Okay. All right.
and
I
then
missed that.
Odyssey came out and sold 30 million copies.
Yeah.
So obviously fucking not.
Yeah, I actually missed that narrative entirely. I always just heard the 2Ds are better. That's crazy.
Every time game journalism and Seventh Gen comes up, I like have to lift my shirt and start being like, and this scar was this, and this scar was this.
Oh, it's that scene from Jaws or that really bad remake of that scene in one of the Kevin Smith movies.
Sometimes people say stupid. Sometimes game journalists will still say stupid shit. We are so much better off now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because they typically just get dogpiled on Twitter or something until they stop.
Yeah, well, like one of the things that's happened because of Twitter and YouTube getting a lot more popular
Mm-hmm.
is a journalist says a thing and then everyone disagrees.
Right.
Meanwhile, before it really was a click, you know? I think one of the things that might have been the fast track path for people to get into Gamergate was the fact it was really clicky.
Mm-hmm.
You know? They did have a click across multiple different game journalism sites.
Yeah.
So that, you know, when a lot of people come to the bat for the same weirdly unimportant indie game, that, you know, that would get someone who is young or naive to start basically going loose change on that shit. Yeah, so nowadays, this person just like, hey, I wrote an entire article about this indie game that my friend made, and everyone just goes, no one cares. Because no one cares. Like, by and large, no one gives a shit about game journalism anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And so the planet's healed. We did it, everyone. Boomer shooters came back. People started making 3D platformers again. It was pretty cool.
It is weird. Like, again, there's no way to ever know how much this actually mattered, but it is very strange. It's like, okay, people stream games now and make YouTube videos about games. People now see the back half of games, and people discuss the back half of games in a way game journalists didn't really do. So now games no longer stop after 4 hours.
Yeah, like we had NDAs like all throughout the industry where it's like you literally can't talk about the last half of this game.
Yeah, that's true. A lot of stuff, like bigger stuff, did that.
Yeah. And also, like, even though it seems like this would be the point of game journalism is to talk more incisively about the whole of the thing, it was never once about that.
No, it's marketing cycle for next thing.
Right.
Always, at all times.
Yeah. And since you need clicks, it is always, let me tell you why thing you know is great, or let me tell you why thing you know is great is actually really terrible. Oh, and Japanese game is problematic.
Yeah.
That was not a great genre of article. We sure saw plenty of those.
Mhm.
I've discussed this on Twitter, but not in content, where I'm permanently pissed that how every time I'd read a review of an Atelier game from 7th Gen, it would be like, I'm a girl and I'm solving things non-violently through creation and helping my community. Do they think I'm gay? 4.
Yep, that sure was an era.
Holy shit. Holy shit. Okay, all right. We're just gonna
I'm over here like, yeah, that franchise kept me sane in 7th Gen because it was a pretty decent JRPG every year.
Wow. Holy yeah.
Hey, Mom.
Hey Bob,
I got into this whole the modding of old or PC ports of games, so I was like, okay, I'll get the Zelda PC port. That sure is not near as solid to play as Mario is. It is on the way to being a decent way to play the game, but not there yet.
It seems like to me that it still might be a superior way to play it compared to the original way.
Right.
But it's still not quite up with the 64. Here's an example. Mario 64 can run at arbitrary frame rates now. So Mario 64 can run at 120 frames per second. There's a good chance if I had a monitor that could do 240, it could run at 240. I don't know, though. Meanwhile, Ocarina of Time, one of the first things he told me when I looked at this thing and I got confused is that you can raise the frame rate so it runs really smooth and it looks amazing. It's like, hey, it's 120. Then he climbed a ladder and it crashed back down to 20.
Yeah.
Not he animated at 20. The whole game changed to render at 20. And it never came back.
Yeah, they actually have hard buttons in the mod to raise and lower the frame rate. So after you do something like that, you can re-raise it.
Right. So Link in a temple, in a dungeon, is going to climb a ladder and you're going to hit that button 3 times to get the frame rate back up.
Yes. Because for some reason, they don't just have a switch of like, hey, just always take it to 60. They are like, well, you go 20, 30, 60, 120.
Yeah.
And it's like this full cycle you have to go through. I'm like, guys.
But looking at it, it was high resolution and widescreen, and it was really cool. And I honestly think just playing it even at the lowest frame rate might be a neat way to play it.
Probably. It is really cool.
I was so happy when I heard other games I love from the N64 were getting decomps.
They even added some cool features, like now you can map, say, your heavy boots to the C buttons. So you don't need to like go into menu to change equipment.
Damn.
The 3DS version did that. So it makes
it
perfect sense that they would be like, we need this quality of life feature.
I was really hoping that it'd come farther along because I hadn't heard anything about it in months since the 60 frame per second thing happened. And it doesn't feel like we've really progressed even to making that solid. So hopefully sometime this is like an immaculate version of this game.
Yeah, hopefully that's not an unsolvable issue. But this still seems like it's probably the best version.
Maybe they're just busy because Majora is so similar that they like went right to that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
maybe like once that's down, which is supposed to be summer, I think is when they're targeting releasing the Majora decompilation.
Yeah, I heard it was getting close. That
So
makes sense.
hopefully like both will increase in quality once that's done. I keep making this joke on Twitter that in 2025 Nintendo is going to release a collection of those two games for $70 and I'll be like, I don't need to buy them because there's PC decompilations. I will buy the re-release of 3D All Stars and S Galaxy 2 for $70 though. I will do that one.
Does Sunshine run at 60 now? No.
No.
Oh. Well, here it is.
We
anyways.
made the cutscenes look worse.
We asked an AI to remake the cutscenes from
Yeah,
Sunshine.
that's the only way they can look worse.
It's just Mario walking into a corner of a room as the dialogue plays.
Mario. The island's
Mario
on
gets-
fire.
Mario gets up on the stage at the Laugh Factory, and then just the game crashes. I've been thinking of doing a joke about Crash.
Hard crash. But yeah, I hope that decompilation comes along and improves even more. I think decompilations are the single most important thing going on in the scene. Used to be the Mister, still kind of is the Mister, but now I feel like decomps are it. Because once you have it decompiled, you can take it to anything. Like people can play Mario 64 on the Vita, as far as I know.
I think that I found a port of it to the PS4.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is amazing. Truly, truly amazing. I really do think the next time I'm going to pop off like I did for these two games, for Mario 64 and Ocarina, is when somebody announces the decompilation of Pilot Wings 64. That's the next time it's going to be amazing for me.
And then Dan stared at the door, waiting for the Pilot Wings 64 decompilation to come through, and he waited and he waited.
I'm like, what do you
waited?
What? Maybe I just need to open the door, and I open it slightly, and then Jack kicks the door down, and he's like, "I'm gonna kill Praxis," because they're moving from Jack 1 to Jack 2, baby. They're doing all the Jacks
Yeah,
before they do any of the other Sony ones, because the Jack code base is similar enough.
Okay, that makes sense. I
It
guess.
makes sense, but it feels tragic.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think what I would like because we got
Ratchet.
really good.
Ratchet.
Oh yeah, Ratchet, of course.
Are you kidding me? I want PC decomp Ratchet 3 with online multiplayer.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I want the Ape Escape 2 and 3.
Okay, here's me. Yeah, Ape Escape would be great. Here's me being a complete sicko, the biggest sicko in the world. PC decompilation Conquer, just so the multiplayer is back.
Oh my god.
I get it. I totally get it. I really do. Wait, can you play the Xbox version online still?
That has a weird different
that is
multiplayer.
totally different multiplayer.
It does.
They completely ripped out the original and put in a weird class, like a weird Team Fortress knockoff.
Yeah. But that would be neat. That would be neat. Hey Bob, what else did you play?
I also played some of Octopath Traveler again, of course.
Cool.
I ran into the team up missions, which two of the characters work together to do a mission. So they actually interact with each other, which is just weird that they don't do this otherwise. But I appreciate the thought. Like, what I played of these have been really short and unclimactic, but they're neat to see these characters actually interact. But that's all I got to say about that.
Okay.
And I booted up Monster Hunter Rise on the Xbox Series X on Game Pass to try it and see if I wanted to buy the PlayStation one, which is on sale for like $20.
Okay.
That game sure loads a lot faster than it's on the Switch.
Yeah.
You don't say.
It also has,
And that's on the Xbox. Imagine how fast it is on PS5. It would be like a frame.
right. It's already basically a frame. It's crazy.
Yeah, I saw you do that.
Mm-hmm.
Saw you do a little bit of that. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy.
It looks pretty nice, but still not as good as World. Just a lot
Yeah.
of old, like, ugly textures because it was for a Switch game.
Right. Like tech-wise, it's literally intentionally coming in lower.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So that's neat. I'm not sure if I don't think I'm gonna pick it up.
Mm.
I feel like I don't have the time for a Monster Hunter anymore. Like, it's just asks so much time of you for a game that's not entirely what I want to play. Like, it's a bunch of punch the monster in the face 100 times and chase him across this world, which is fine. Like, I think it does that well, but I'm just not too into it. Also, there's a really weird thing where, like, these two characters are quest givers. I thought they'd have the same list, because Monster Hunter Works is just, like, here's a big list of, like, monsters to go hunt.
Right.
But they're two entirely different lists. So I first went to the harder set of them. And it was like, why is the first thing I do fight this giant creature that takes 100 hits?
You're like, man, they're really taking it back over there at Capcom. We're going back to Monster Hunter 1.
It did feel a little bit like that.
Yeah.
But then I went and found the other quest giver and was like, yeah, just go kill 20 of these weak things. I'm like, okay, that makes a lot more sense for a mission 1.
And murder bunny rabbits, that's a lot easier than where I just came from, and you're missing an arm.
Yeah. That's all I got to say about that. And the only other thing I played was the Resident Evil 4 remake, which I think most of us played, right?
Ekro, did you play the demo for that?
Sorry, I cut some audio. The demo for what?
Resident Evil 4 remake demo?
I did. I booted that up and played a bit of it.
Everyone played it. Let me tell you, my biggest regret of my last week is that I could not play more. I only did like 3 or 4 runs.
They're really going to release a remake of Resident Evil 4 that has the controls like a modern game, but has every single thing from Resident Evil 4 in it and new things I didn't know I wanted in it.
And it looks like an immaculate super game. Like, I'm playing on my 4090 and it's running at 4K, like 90 to 120 frames per second. I'm like, is this shit real? It looks insane.
Yeah. Yeah, the game's crazy.
It's so crazy looking.
I think my only disappointment, there's an animation they do when you shoot them in the shoulder, which is the exact same animation they do in RE5, and then you can go like do I believe like
an uppercut,
an uppercut or something. You cannot hit them when they're in that animation in this game.
No,
that is not in Resident Evil 4, so it's not. In this.
You have to make them kneel.
Yes, either kneel or headshot.
Your kick is so fucking strong in this. It sounds like it shatters all their bones. I'm glad they seem to have realized that sickos like me mastered the art of headshot, kick them, and then knife them when they're on the ground. So it's like, well, it's boring to knife them when they're on the ground. So the kick just killed them.
Well, not only that, if you down an enemy, your stab is different. You can do a jutting stab instead of a slice like this.
Yeah.
So it's just like, oh, he's on the ground. Just stab him full of holes. This feels so sleek and so good. And it is Resident Evil 4. That my brain disease is starting to race up there with Chris's, and I'm worried this is going to ruin my free time for the rest of the year. Eating it like fucking Galactus.
Other thing I was
so happy that this game is going to redefine third-person shooters again, meaning we're going to get some good fucking third-person shooters coming up.
Yeah.
I was kind of hoping they'd have the dodge sync on RE3 because that was the most fun thing in 3. And there isn't really a good evasive maneuver like that in this. It is a lot closer to Resident Evil 4 than that, which is, of course, still good.
Right. I just like the idea.
Hey, you can crouch to dodge grabs now.
You can.
If they had the dodge in this, then by the time they got to remake 5, everyone would be like, I didn't know 5 was a perfect video game.
Yeah, this is really like the next Resident Evil, like their 9 better be something insane. Dude, like I want to be Leon Kennedy with every move imaginable.
Right. Like I can't even imagine what happens with Resident Evil from here, because they either remake 5 and it is the best video game ever made somehow, or they make 9 that is either bad and disappointing compared to Resident Evil 4 remake, or the best video game of the year it came out and the year preceding and the year after. I just don't know how where do you go from here? This is so good.
Yeah, that first person shit needs to be done.
Yeah, I mean, they killed the main character who is 4.
Spoilers.
They have to move on.
Yeah, it feels like they, as you might phrase it, wrapped the story of Ethan Winters in a pretty conclusive manner, and I feel like
and then the Rose DLC really wraps it like completely. I feel
they definitely didn't make it more open than the ending of the game canonically did already, because it literally, there's mild spoilers for the DLC, it ends in the exact same spot. That DLC is not a sequel.
No.
Yeah, it's just,
that's so upsetting.
I really hope they just totally ignore that RE8 epilogue thing and be like, no, it's not 18 years in the future. That'd be stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I don't need them to jump 18 years in the future. Like, I like Rose. I don't need us to jump 18 years for the game franchise to be about Rose now. Like, I really do just want a new game.
Yeah, if we jump that far, absolutely don't play as Rose. After playing that DLC, no, don't.
I assume
I've been talking to people. They've been setting up Wesker coming back for a while.
Right.
In various little bits and pieces. I need Wesker to come back, and I need Wesker to deal with bizarrely intense RE8 Chris.
Yeah, that and go ahead.
Like, he starts shit with Chris, and Chris stands up, and it's like a 5'11" moment where he's just towering over Wesker.
I need that, and I asked for something, and I believe it was chat was letting me know lore-wise that couldn't happen because I was like, or maybe it was Bob, I'm not sure. I was like, we need MILF Jill. And then people were like, well, because of the stuff in 5, she's like forever young. And I'm like, no, no, it would fit in so well with Street Fighter 6 and Chris being a brick house.
Here's what you do. Here's what you do. You have the opening scene of the game, her look older and be like, it's a good thing we cured you of that shit.
Yeah, abso-fucking-lutely.
You can write whatever you want. And oftentimes you probably should, instead of sticking to shit that was old, that was maybe not great when it was conceived.
Right. Like, it's whatever. We could just say a line or two and we're done with that. Absolutely. Give me MILF Jill Valentine or give me death. Look, I'm just saying, it's time.
Maybe you'll lose that to Claire. I don't know.
I guess. Or maybe it's Jill and Claire. We got Resident Evil 9. Just 2 hot ladies.
that person that I cannot remember the name of comes back from RE6 and is like, who?
I was like, oh, it's Sheva. Oh, he's talking about someone from 6. I don't know.
Yeah, no, Sheva's like a real character. No, not that lady from RE6. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't. Wait, a lady from 6?
Yeah, the one that's with Chris. With Leon.
Because I'm already sitting here and I'm like, Jake. That's all I could think of, right? Mm-hmm. You're like 6 character. Helena? Chat saying Helena.
Yeah, she shouldn't be in the franchise ever again.
I don't even fucking remember her, and we played that game on stream like in 2021. I'm sorry, I can't remember her. You're like the person with Leon, and I'm like, Ada. Because my brain just thinks of the Ada DLC instead of who was actually there with Leon during that moment.
She's the most generic character in Resident Evil as a franchise, I think.
I'm
she's
gonna
so
have
plain.
to look this up.
Somehow she's less memorable than Pierce.
RE6.
I guess Pierce gets a little bit of that buff from people being like, yeah, his name is Pierce Sniffles, right?
Yeah, no, him being Pierce Nibbins, which sounds like Pierce Nipples, really gives him a buff, and even still.
I think, what is his name? Jake? Is that Wesker's kid?
Yes. Yeah, Jake.
He sucks so bad. He's just like the most generic jarhead.
No, he has more staying power than Helena. I know, I'm looking at her right now.
Yeah, even Jake, being as kind of generic as he is,
kind of works because no one else in Resident Evil is that. Like, the closest was Chris, and he doesn't look like that anymore.
Right.
So you can have Jake in this now, and he looks more. And I mean, plus Chris. Look at Chris's face in 5. There's just an element of it that's hyper animated and kind of fucking terrifying. Almost Frank Westian.
They should bring Sheva back. I feel like they kind of threw her out because of response to RE5.
Mm-hmm.
But that really wasn't like that wasn't Sheva. Sheva wasn't the problem there. It was many other things, and I think Sheva was a cool character.
Yeah,
and deserved to still be around. So I kind of hope they make a version like a remake of RE5 and just fix all that shit, and then Sheva can.
3 hot women in RE9.
Can we just throw in
Lady from Devil May Cry?
I was gonna say no. It's got to be the Lucia from Devil May Cry 2. Give her some justice.
What the fuck is this? We're basically making that King of Fighters that was all ladies, right? But it's that for Capcom IP. So now it's Resident Evil and Devil May Cry. They all come together to make one of the best video games ever. Anyways, the Resident Evil 4 remake demo is absolutely incredible. I found it so kinetically enjoyable to push the buttons and do the things. It felt great to move through the environments. There's a level of interactivity built into the environment that is exactly as dense as Resident Evil 4, and it felt super great. And even the demo has secrets built into it, like getting the TMP by discarding everything before you get to that well, and the random unlock super hard mode with flaming chainsaws.
Chris, I assume you went and got the hard mode and the TMP and stuff, right?
No, I only played the demo twice because I had other shit to do. Work was kicking my ass this week.
Yeah, I'm so sorry.
That sucks.
For the TMP, you just discard all of your items and run to the well, and now you get a TMP, machine gun that you get to carry through every run of the demo from then on.
Oh yeah, they also give you the kitchen knife down there, which is like a really bad knife.
That's really funny though.
They're like, we made you drop everything, so take this.
The lighting for the hair at the highest quality fidelity on PS5 is currently broken. No other platform has that problem.
Weird.
I did at 1440p have a weird gradation issue with the high quality lighting on my hair, but if you change resolution, it fixes it. PS5, it just didn't even do the right lighting model. Digital Foundry was showing that off, and I was like, man, that's weird.
Yeah,
I'm sure they'll fix it by the final game, but really bizarre.
Right? They did eventually, someone found a code to make it always boot into that mad chainsaw mode. So I got to try that a few times.
Okay, Bob, this is our code corner. Tell them the code. You have it written down, right?
Down. Go to. I retweeted it on Twitter. Look through my retweets.
Look through everything Bob's tweeted over the last 4 days.
It definitely
Please engage with social media.
Please.
Sakura Street Fighter didn't have a birthday, and thus there's a lot of Sakura art in there. Don't worry about it.
Okay, I trust you. Don't worry. She's also in the Resident Evil 9 game. That is the weird crossover. But she, too, is now a MILF.
Of course.
Of course. I'm getting myself too excited for this fake video game. Because here's the thing. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm just going to say this and we could go back to reality.
Okay.
Not enough video games are about older women. Period. To the point where Returnal being about that was like refreshing, and it was like, oh, cool. Where's the rest? What the hell? So anyways, what I'm saying is, because of how Sony works, look forward to 2030 being nothing but MILFs. PS6, here's your fucking Women's International Day picture now. Nothing but MILFs. And Kat from Gravity Rush. We're still showing her for some reason.
Jim Ryan, I can't believe I have to explain to you why we cannot run a nothing but MILFs ad campaign for International Women's Day.
No aggro, don't stop him. Let that man blow up like the beautiful firework he is.
He is reborn.
Was this his plan? We say as he rockets into the atmosphere.
But people always talk about the Mad Chainsaw mode difficulty at making the Chainsaw Man in that game really hard.
Yeah, the whole thing's hard as hell, right?
Yeah. It's not just him, because they give him like a flaming chainsaw, and of course he's super hard.
And it's cool as shit. Speaking of which, his eyes are scary as hell.
Oh yeah, when they do a close up and no eyelids, it's really messed up.
It's really messed up.
Yeah. So I said I booted that demo. I didn't say I finished it. As soon as he showed up, I realized that I apparently have some old trauma from the first time I saw him run across the screen and chainsaw Leon in half. Because I turned that fucking thing off.
I can't blame you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It is intense when he gets you. They made a totally new animation, but it's not the beheading thing anymore. Which people thought was censorship, but then it's like, no, the young gets beheaded in a different kill.
Yeah. Yeah.
He does? I thought for sure Japan had something with decapitation.
Yeah, I guess it's going to be a Z-rated game over there or something, but literally there's one where two villagers hold you down and then one hatchets your head off. It's messed up.
Maybe that animation just isn't in the Japanese version.
Very possible.
Man, I can't believe Resident Evil 4 Remake is going to be my first 11 out of 10.
But that Mad Chainsaw mode, it spawns 3 of those dudes in the first room. I booted into it once before I got the TMP. I just died.
Yeah.
They just all run at you at once, and those are the ones you can't do melee attacks to. Like, you can't do the shoot them in the leg and hit them thing because they're the weird super ones.
Jesus.
And they run you down.
That's hilarious.
It's messed up. So that's my experience with the demo.
Cool.
And that's everything I've played.
Hey, Chris, did you have anything you wanted to say about the demo? Because I've already said what I wanted to say about it like 3 times and then talked about our Resident Evil 9 MILF Manor.
It's an immaculate super game that's going to is going to clear every other game that comes out this year, unless like Sony or Nintendo reveals something just beyond our expectations. Like Nintendo's like, no, all that Donkey Kong shit was fake. Here's the new 3D Mario.
Yeah, could you
Yeah.
imagine? It's like Spider-Man 2 is amazing. Nintendo releases a new 3D Mario, and then this. And I'm like, motherfuckers, we have a new greatest year in gaming.
Yeah, 2017 too.
Yes.
If somehow Tears of the Kingdom is just hiding everything, it is some immaculate game that no one could predict.
Mm-hmm.
That's another possibility. But RE4
Yeah, if
seems
it's like it's Breath of the Wild 1 was us doing the open world thing. We had to get that down. Now we just put all the Zelda shit back in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Now we have 8 dungeons and you get new shit in each dungeon and it has all this fucking shit. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
how? Maybe
do you
you
know
were
that?
right about. Maybe this is the first game that actually deserved to be $70.
Doug Bowser, you were right.
How insane that Resident Evil 4 Remake 60.
Right.
Like, I know the pre-development was basically done by making the whole game 15, 18 years ago, but still feels insane to be like, this game's amazing. 60.
Man, those
Dead
costumes that
Space-
showed up. I'm sorry, what's up, Chris?
Dead Space Remake.
Mm-hmm.
Fine. That was $70. How fucking dare they? I feel like nobody's gonna think about that ever again once RE4 Remake comes out.
No. I saw that on sale for like 50 and I was like, it's not, I'm not going to have time to play before RE4 Remake comes out.
Mhm.
Playing it after will feel like just terrible.
Just do it during October, Halloween.
I guess.
The only thing that could possibly compete with that may be Spider-Man and Starfield, and I know one of those you don't give a shit about.
Yeah.
And the other one of those, like, it's supposed to be September for both, really.
Yeah.
So, Agra, are you picking up Resident Evil 4 Remake?
I don't know. I mean, like, it seemed pretty good, but there was all this really obnoxious yellow spray paint on stuff, and it really ruined the whole game for me because
so
I don't
funny
have
that
a
that's
fucking
all-
brain.
That's all the content mill can come up with, where it's like, no, we need. There's literally nothing else about this game that I can get upset at. We have to go back to this.
Yeah, that's the same account that does this for literally every game that releases. Like, Dying Light 2 put flags on these things I need to climb. It's like, yeah, of course it did. It's an open world game. You need to see those.
There are definitely times when there have been things in a game that have taken me out of the game, and I'm like, oh, it's such a shame that my immersion was broken. They weren't third-person action games where I need to be able to quickly fucking identify things that I'm looking at in the environment.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, okay, Bethesda, every final room in a thing in Fallout 4 doesn't need to have a giant glowing Borderlands chest. That was a little bit the same giant glowing Borderlands chest.
Right.
That was a little much. But there's a difference here in genre and what you go to the genre for. It's like, why do the pickups in Devil May Cry glow? It's so unrealistic. It took me out of the game.
Okay, I thought of something even more absurd. All of these things we just said. New 3D Mario, Tears of the Kingdom has all the Zelda stuff in it. They've just been hiding in these trailers. Everything else is absolutely amazing. Spider-Man 2 is like one of the best video games you've ever played. And then Pragmata comes out and is somehow even better than Resident Evil 4 Remake. It's just like, okay, I
Can you
kneel,
imagine
Capcom.
if Pragmata was just like, yeah, it plays like RE4, but better in every single way? How do you do that?
I don't know. RE4 Remake is so ideal. Literally ideal. Chris, did you have anything else you want to say about it?
No, it's just so good.
It is so good. We're gonna do a 3 camp video. It's just gonna be the 3 of us sitting around. It's so good. We're just gonna loop the fucking guy from Spider-Man eating the mudkip so good gif on a fucking monitor where aggro should be sitting. This is fucked up.
Man, it's messed up the Mercenaries doesn't launch with it, because
Yes.
that would just be like so immaculate.
But what if it comes out later this year and it thus is still considered for Game of the
I
Year as a
know,
part of the package of the game?
Yeah, I really hope the fact they're delaying it is like they must know, like, no, this needs to be badass.
Which is,
And also, if they're delaying it, it better have more characters than just like the 4 or 5 that the original had.
Mhm.
I want Fridge Chris to be here for no reason.
Yes. Yeah, I hope I've seen amount of levels in basically every character in the franchise they've already put into the RE engine. Like, if I can't play as Claire, I'll be upset. If I can't play as Carlos, I'll be upset.
I need Resident Evil 2 Leon.
Yeah.
On top of Resident Evil 4 Leon.
I mean, it'd just be weird if they wouldn't do that, because that would just be outfit change and new weapons.
Yeah.
Which is what they do in these. If they can remember how to make a Mercenaries game, they will do that.
Man, what an exciting game. What an exciting game. And it comes out so soon. It's like what, a week?
Yeah, it's next week.
Yeah, literally 1 week.
That's crazy. I better beat Bayonetta fast.
Oh, when does that come out?
Tomorrow.
Why wasn't that elected as a game we should stream, Bob?
I didn't think about it.
That's how little he cares. He's like, no, show me the 64 DS game. Man, that's crazy. Anyway, okay, we're done over here. Hey, Chris, what you been playing?
I played Mario 2, but we talked about that, and I played some of Super Mario Brothers U, but we talked about that. Then I played some more Yakuza Like a Dragon Ishin, but I didn't beat it because I decided I wanted to play something. Here's my recommendation: if you want to play Like a Dragon Ishin, play it like a fucking normal human being until you beat the game.
That makes sense.
I'm sure you did that.
No, I did not. Do all the freak completionist shit. In Premium Adventure, the thing that every Yakuza game has, where you can just boot into the game post game and do all the optional shit. So a mode I have never used once because I am a super freak and do all the content while I'm playing the game.
That's so crazy.
This sure is a Yakuza game from before Zero. Although, like, the problem is that it just feels like you can't do anything in this game in Ishin.
Weird.
Like you don't have any like the cool combat options you have in Zero or even in 5. Because in those games there was stuff like Kiryu, like one of the Kiryu's core abilities is in my mind that he had starting in like Yakuza 3, and he started getting them in 2. Because the thing that Yakuza always did was like, no, Kiryu doesn't lose shit between games.
Mm-hmm.
He loses like the absolute top tier of stuff he had with the justification. I'm rusty. It's been a year. And then you almost immediately get it back and then get more stuff. But Kiryu's core abilities in my mind is the Tiger Drop, which is the I'm not going to sugarcoat it, R plus triangle, and you instantly delete someone from history. and you have that, and you have that in this game. But hand to hand is bad because it doesn't get any. There's no gear for hand to hand, so it's really low damage.
Oh.
But you don't like his stuff in my mind is the double finisher, where you can tap triangle twice at the end of the combo and do 2 big hits. And I forget what they call it in like the redone translations that are in the HD collections, but in original games it was called like bounding throw, which is you land a finishing blow and you're at any point in the combo and you hit circle and immediately do like an unescapable command grab on the enemy. And those are like the 2 big things. And then Zero gave him more stuff, like in his beast mode, he has like a bear hug that uses your resource but isn't like a cinematic move. It's just a you had non-heat move options in all these games that you can use your resources for. They're more useful against bosses because heat moves don't do very much damage against bosses.
Mm.
And you just don't really have anything like that in Ishin.
Mm-hmm.
Like 2 of the 4 styles are just so basic. Like gun is just gun. You don't have any fancy moves for gun. And the wild dancer, the gun and sword is cool, but you're really just chaining your normal combo into your special combo that is on the circle button, and then you doing a dodge that lets you chain back into the circle, into the square combo, and you loop that, and it's a crowd control style, and it doesn't have a lot of moves. And most of the nodes on your skill trees are just more heat moves, and I'm like, but where's like the cool stuff? The heat moves are cool, but they're not that useful against like enemies that block bosses because they don't do a bunch of damage against bosses.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels like the intended way to beat most bosses is use a heat move. It doesn't do a bunch of damage, but it knocks them prone. And then you just do the sword combo because it can hit them while they were down, which normally you can't do in a Yakuza game. Normally it's pretty hard to hit an enemy when they're down. Like you have like a stomp, or sometimes you can really high up in the skill tree, you can get a move that like pulls them onto their feet.
I always think of the one where you just grab them and like slide their face on the ground.
Yeah, you have heat move options, but I'm talking about like outside
normal.
of those.
Yeah,
normal moves.
Yeah.
And in this, is just like the sword can just hit them when they're on the ground.
Huh.
So you just do your normal combo and it does a bunch of damage, and that's been how I beat a bunch of bosses. Although you do eventually get like the tiger drop, but for the sword, and that's fun. Although you also have to simultaneously hold L2 because otherwise you trigger a heat move that happens when someone attacks you. Because holding L2 in a Yakuza game makes you not use a heat move if you press triangle.
Huh.
So yeah, I like it. I'm glad people can finally play it in English. I'm glad I finally know what the fuck's happening.
Kind of important.
But yeah, it's you can just really tell okay, we had to make new stuff. We're kind of bad at that. And then there's just this game was before the game that revitalized the series and everybody loves.
Yeah, after hearing you describe it week to week, I really do feel like maybe I just go back and play more of Zero or finish Judgment rather than picking this up.
I would even skip I would skip Judgment entirely and just go to Lost Judgment.
Yeah, I actually meant Lost Judgment because I already started and then stopped that and then started Lost Judgment.
It's hard for me to decide between whether Lost Judgment or Zero's better. They're both pretty good. Judgment is great. I mean, Lost Judgment is great. It's really crazy that Judgment, I think, is like almost the worst game in the franchise. And then Lost Judgment is in competition for the best game in the franchise, in my opinion.
Yeah, you and our other co-host, I believe, maybe I'm misremembering, had a lot of praise for that game when they came out. Like a lot.
Right.
So that doesn't surprise me.
Which is unfortunate. I love the Shinsengumi stuff. I wish that this game sounded better.
Yeah, Bob might be what you may describe as a weeb.
Yes.
So this should be his exact thing.
Yeah, the Shinsengumi stuff is fun. There's also this element that they replaced all the guys from the older games with guys from 0 and 7.
Weird.
Because they filled out the roster with a lot of really minor characters from like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4.
Mm-hmm.
And then now they replaced all the minor guys with major characters.
Huh.
But yeah, it is a very cool game. There's very cool stuff in it. It's just like this is the first time, because I played the Yakuza series in a real fucking weird order. I went 3, 4, 2, 1, 5, and then just played them in release order. And this has been the hardest going backwards has been since I went back to 1, which is a game that barely runs.
Yeah, I remember I had to just drop 1 back when it first came out.
Vanilla 1 is bad.
Yeah, I actually picked up 2 and enjoyed it back in the day. The original 2.
Right.
It's stunning what a jump there was from 1 to 2. 2 is almost like a modern Yakuza game.
Yeah, it was really good.
But yeah, that's all I played.
Okay.
I really wish they had at any point made another game like Mario 2 with the picking up and throwing.
Yeah, that would have been neat.
Yeah, it's a very cool game.
And the multiple playable characters with different abilities. That also would have been nice.
Yeah, it's really weird. We didn't talk about it, but it's really weird. Luigi has a distinct appearance in Mario 2, unlike Mario 1 and 3 and
World.
World.
Yeah, it's bizarre.
But if you play Super Mario World on the Super Mario World Plus All Stars,
Yes.
Yes.
Luigi has a unique sprite, except they didn't seem to know anything about what Luigi's character was. So he has all like these rock star poses.
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah, like
Alright.
he slides down hills on his knees, and like he does a crossed arm pose when you beat a level instead of like the peace sign or whatever Mario does.
Huh.
And then when they did the Game Boy Advance version, they like swapped him out with like Super Mario 2 Luigi. Like they just totally threw out those sprites.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah. Hey, Aggro.
Yes, sir.
What have you been playing?
Well, aside from an abortive run at the RE4 demo,
You need to go back in and confront your fears again.
I do. I need to play it again. But it's dark outside, and I live alone. I put about 20 hours into Octopath Traveler 2.
Nice.
I got
Nice.
I got all the first chapters, couple of second chapters done. It's butter. All the little additions they made to what was already great JRPG combat. It's just a joy to play.
Feels good, man.
Man, I thought some of the reviewers were overreacting, but a lot of the stories in this game are like really cool and compelling and interesting. And then there's the dancer.
I was worried about that not actually getting any better. Because that first one sure was nothing.
She was I picked Oswald because of course I did.
But yeah.
And he's in the upper right of the map. So I just made this big U down and back up on the other continent. And she was the last character I got.
Mm-hmm.
So after all these incredible stories of revenge and betrayal and high stakes and melodrama, I want to be a dancer. I'm an anime girl.
Is she also Mickey Mouse?
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh. Maybe by the end of the game it sort of delivers on that in a really interesting way.
I'm hoping so. I'm expecting it to, but I'm comparing it to the story of the dancer from 1, which was it was that one. So
all right. They have opinions about people who dance.
It's been really great having Oswald be my main character because he's this 7-foot tall raggedy ghoul of a man. And I keep wandering into towns and just silently staring at people as they go, "Hey, I'm so and so and this is my deal. I'm going to come join your RPG party, right?" And he just stands there looming like he's the fucking Babadook.
That's awesome.
But that's just in like the cutscenes because where you get the inventor secondary job is like right below where Oswald starts. So I've spent this entire game with this giant homunculus in a steampunk top hat and striped trousers.
Huh. So wait, there are job classes that aren't for the main characters?
Yeah, I've heard
Weird.
there are a couple. Like the inventor class, you just go into some guy's house and he gives you the license and you've got to like bring him back special materials and he'll invent more shit to give you more abilities.
That's really cool. I wish I
Yeah.
found that while I was up there.
Like the first ability you get is super strong. It's called changeable catapult. And you can you hit this thing and you can hit every enemy with a single weapon type.
Huh.
Like you can only use it once before you have to spend a turn repairing it, but for breaking huge groups of enemies, it is indispensable.
That reminds me of another weird thing I found in this I didn't expect. There's like a shrine you can find for each character. It's like, I will teach you a super move for this class.
Yeah, they've got those hanging around. I'm assuming I'm going to run into how to secondary job characters eventually because I haven't really found that yet.
You mean beyond the one extra job, but like 3 jobs?
No, I mean like just being able to secondary characters into other people's jobs. Like I think I have to visit guild houses or something, but I just haven't been in a place that has them.
Yeah, that's it. Because I got 2 of those. That you just find a guild place and they're like, hey, here, this is the warrior seal. Now you can any character can be a warrior. That sort of thing.
I really thought I was not going to like Ochette because she's one of those classes that's just overly complicated and you got to put in the work beforehand for her weird Pokemon powers.
But she's so cool.
She is so cool. She fucking rules.
Yeah, I hate taking her out of my party because she's the most interesting character in the game with how many mechanics she has. She's the animal girl.
Mm-hmm.
Aisha Clan Clan, huh?
Yeah, I was gonna say she's the tiny Aisha Clan. I somehow apparently did not absorb. I avoided the fact that Particio, the merchant, is cartoonishly from a cowboy mining town.
Oh yeah,
because his name is his name's Particio. It's Italian. Look at his costume. It looks Italian. So I roll up to this mason. He's like, "Howdy, y'all. I'm Lorenzo de Medici, and I shook Sam howdied."
Well, you heard of spaghetti westerns. There you go.
I hate you so much. That's so plausible.
Pretty rough.
Yeah, that's
God damn you.
that's probably what they're doing, and that's probably why. My name's Ennio Morricone.
This game it's definitely like that beautiful step up from the first one where everything's a little bit more refined. We added a little bit more of this. Like I'm looking at the world map and I've got a route planned for who I want to have in my party as I travel to this place to do this next chapter. Which is a complete reversal from one where I'm like, I really only care about these 4 or 5 guys, so I'm just going to use them until the game stops me. And it did, and then I stopped playing it.
What are you going to do? Stop me, does? Well, I'm done. So
It's like, here's a boss that does mass status effects, and you really need the alchemist to fight it. I'm like, oh, bye.
Well played. Turns off.
You win this round, clerks.
I love all the characters, like, specific different run animations. Because you've got like Casti and Hikari who like, you know, he's samurai. So he's got one hand on the sheath and she's got one hand on the medicine pouches they run. And then you've got Agni, the dancer, who Sui Koden sways back and forth, both hands in the air.
Yes. Notably, in Suikoden, you do not play as a dancer. That's weird.
So yeah, everything's coming up roses. I hope this one can make it the whole way this time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, what are they going to do? Stop you? Did you play anything else?
Oh, I did play the that remake of Myst.
There's a new remake of Myst?
They have finally realized the dream and recreated Myst the way it was always meant to be played. As a point and click movement based Doom clone.
It was pretty good. Pretty good. I wish I could remember half the crap it yells at you as you get more and more demon kills.
That may be the best and stupidest game I have ever played. Oh man, Switchback VR came out today, but I did not pick it up yet.
Yeah, it is later. It is later in the month. Yeah, we're on the second half of the month. I forgot that was supposed to come out later in the month. Damn.
What was Switchback VR?
That's the thing made by the Until Dawn people?
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
Huh.
What is it? Dark Pictures?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, those people. It's the one where it's the rail shooter where you're literally in a minecart.
Okay, so it's a sequel to that sort of thing from them. Weird.
Yes, and this will also be using the eye tracking to move shit when you're not looking at it.
That's horrifying.
There are enemies that only move when you blink.
I don't know. I don't know about this.
But it looks so good that I want to play it.
Yeah, that's probably really fucking
Someone
sick.
peed my pants.
How does this keep happening?
Do you think chat will buy it if I yell that, Bob?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Some people say that only cowards pee their pants. I think that pissing your pants and going forward is the real bravery.
Always peeing upward, upward, upward.
A rising tide lifts all boats.
Did you play anything else, Aggro?
Nope.
Which means it's time for... Wait, that's the wrong button.
Yeah.
Podlords. Podlords. Podlords.
Oh fuck.
Podlords. Yes, that's right. The Podlords. Podlords such as E. Lee Broyles. Yeah, I think I got a plan cooking.
Oh, don't let him cook.
Yeah.
Red Blaze 27. Suzushiro. BN12. Shiba Yagato. Rado. 101 Shades of Wonderful Remastered. WTF Spider-Man. Pixar's Jinkaria.
Oh my god, no. No.
Stop!
God, like it looks like he's wearing him instead of being.
Yes, right?
I fucked your mom, shit lips.
Mr. I Like Spam. I spent last week watching all the Detective Conan movies. I have now opened my third eye to wacky crime scene tricks. Not enough of the movies feature tape.
No.
I feel like tape is really... You master tape and you can do anything.
They get weird in other ways. They usually involve poems.
That's true. DFW 3K. I'm sure Virginia here is very happy to hear you like multi-limbed women, Aggro.
Oh no.
Fuck is
That's
that from?
pretty multi.
That's from last week's Podlords. Shiny Mew. Kristen. Kyle Bjork. I always knew normies would end up causing trouble for Square Enix. I don't know that I would call
no idea.
investors normies.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like literally the least normie thing in the entire world. They're basically aliens.
Right.
Yeah, they sure are. By the way, Bob, yeah, you can see the hat
Yeah, no,
and
I
the
didn't-
hair.
Yeah,
I didn't
I was
see
about to
that.
ask
That's
before I
rough.
remembered what that is.
Iron Aggro. Blig de Blue. Schlig des Boo. Monster Hunter Ryzen and Raiden. It's okay. I'm normal now.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Good. Congratulations.
Stay away from the highways in Oklahoma and Missouri.
And also Peepsy.
And also Peepsy. Cooper Tank. The Plan, Wolong Edition. I kept drinking the Peepsy, and now I'm not a chop goblin anymore. Indigo Sykes. Drive Typecast. An ironic dance stash appreciator Gaiji.
Oh no. I'm sorry, Dan.
Fucking, what a perfect frame.
Yeah, maybe you can be the gaming YouTuber with a mustache.
Oh yeah,
That
that's
can
true.
be like your thing.
That could be my thing. I could be Game Stash.
Okay, let's move on.
Evo Lucario. Not even this raccoon would want to eat the double down.
I don't think there's a raccoon that would not go ham on the double down.
Right.
I mean, that looks like a raccoon staring at one.
Isn't that Marvel character, Rabid Raccoon? Did you know not playing Hyper Demon makes you more likely to enjoy Mega Man X7?
Oh, that's not a risk I can afford to take.
Why is it Gigas? Why is Gary Busey Gigas?
Because you can't perceive his shape or form. The Super Mim. The Hard M about to have an exquisite dinner thanks to Thursday payday.
Jesus.
What is this? What does this bib say?
Plan for messes.
Oh,
God, it's
Oh.
terrible. Sarlene. Timothy Pfister is doing a chaos check-in, showing support for Stranger of Paradise's first anniversary. Let's go, gentlemen.
I'm glad it's coming to Steam.
Yeah, it's good that it's escaping the Epic Game Store.
Yeah, I was blown away. I forgot that it was just stuck on there.
Yeah. Bearded Joe. Pleochrome. Krunglespum. 1 second. Paul Penis. Circumcised.
That trailer was immaculate.
It was.
Paul Phoenix wouldn't be nearly as funny if he wasn't like the third strongest person in the franchise.
Paulo Pene. This is a different pod lord. This is a different fucking pod lord. Thank you. GigaBoots versus the true final boss of Mario 1, the World 8 Hammer, bro.
What a monster.
Yeah, fucking Christ. His private jet flies at blizzard speed, lifting me by Fulton Hook. Hold on, this guy was in Epstein's Black Book?
That's every tech executive. It doesn't narrow it down.
Yeah, this didn't narrow it down at all. It's just an apple bunny. The anime is Bofuri. Or I don't want to get hurt, so I'll max out my defense. Thank you very much to our pod lords.
Thank you, Pod Lord.
Thank you, Pod Lord.
Thank you, Pod Lords.
Thank you, pod lords.
Praise to the Pod Lords.
And if you'd like to become a pod lord, you can go to our Patreon at patreon.com/gbpodcast. For as little as $5 a month, you get access to many benefits, such as early access to Chugging Bleach and Pokemon Go to the Movies, our 2 monthly anime review podcasts, wherein we review 5 or more episodes of Bleach at a time, or a Pokemon movie, 1 a month. Both those shows will continue until every member of the human race is dead. And thanks to AI technology and cold fusion likely being developed at some point, it may continue even past then. Aliens may find an AI rig just spitting out fake episodes of those shows forever. You also get extended and cut content from other shows when indeed such content exists for you to be given, and a Patreon exclusive show 1 a month where you get to vote on what good or bad thing we have to watch and then talk about. And if it's a bad thing, you also get a commentary track, and we don't release those publicly. So you basically have 40, somewhere in the ballpark of 40.
It's even higher than that. It's like 50 plus.
Oh, right. Because
Disgusting.
there was also commentary track for the cursed contents we do release publicly. So it's closer to 70.
Yeah, it's disgusting, the value.
You also get a movie, Isolation 119, a fantastic movie about a man trying to get a tax write-off. It's legitimately fantastic. I highly recommend you watch it and show as many people as possible, like it's the tape from The Ring.
Yes.
That is patreon.com/gbpodcast. And if you don't have any money, it always helps immensely to tell your friends, rate us on Thursdays, review us on your podcast app of choice, and like this video if you're watching on YouTube right now.
Right now, please.
That's patreon.com/gbpodcast. Thank you.
And that takes us to the news. News? One moment. News. Okay, we're over here at the news. Far Cry 5's getting 60 frame per second update for current gen consoles. I may play Far Cry 5 now.
I forgot it didn't have that.
Weird, but cool.
Yeah.
Oh, Far Cry 5. I was like,
Don't worry, I played through 6 and I did the same thing.
see, I got confused. I was like, I don't think Dan would say that he would go back to that.
No, I played that.
Why
I'm
am I
good.
confused?
I'm good.
Man, I guess they need to release something over there at Ubisoft. They can't put out a new game, but they can update the old ones, I guess.
I am curious. I've never played a Far Cry game. I am somewhat curious to play one because a thing that I feel like the reason Bethesda games always hit on the open world element more for me is that they're first person.
Mm-hmm.
So it like there's just something about being first person that makes the illusion of an open world work more,
Well,
in my opinion.
I have an idea. You know what Far Cry 5 is like? It's like Days Gone.
Oh, I thought you were going to roll out the classic
Oh,
line.
no.
The classic
Oh no,
line.
I see where this is going. I see where this is going, and it's bad.
So if it's like Days Gone, maybe we could have some sort of sister podcast to the Days Gone spoiler cast. That, maybe we can explore this. Maybe it's a superior execution of the same vibes.
I thought it was just going to be it's Skyrim with guns, which I heard 3,000 times working at GameStop.
No, you just have PTSD.
Oh,
I'm
see,
sorry.
I never heard Skyrim with guns bad game. I heard Oblivion with guns lots of times before Fallout 3 came out.
Mhm.
And then when Fallout 4 was going to come out, then we got Skyrim with guns, and people made really goofy images of like your character learning radiation shouts.
But yeah, I think this was actually the marketing terms used by Far Cry 4.
Yeah. Far Cry started co-opting it, yeah.
How fucking embarrassing.
Is that, you gonna eat that? No, that's on the floor, dude.
I know with how shameless Dark Souls ripoffs are.
Mm-hmm.
I still feel like none of them have ever just been like, it's like Dark Souls.
A lot of people are saying it was Far Cry 3, so it's that far back.
Wow. I thought they took a little longer to jump on the boat.
Apparently not. Apparently not. Some people on Twitter are very mean. They started a targeted hate campaign at me as they alleged there was a new .hack in development. You bastards.
Never believe the first translation you see.
I know, and I knew that, and I sat there and I'm like, I shouldn't trust it. And then I started thinking, a new .hack game, that'd be pretty cool. And then someone in my replies was like, what if it was a PSVR 2 game? Then we would be in the world for real. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. And then as I was in that moment, that's when the follow-up comes out of, he's trolling us. They only translated the part where he's trolling us, not the follow-up statement where he says, is something I would like to say.
Yeah.
The fucking Simpsons bit. He's adding a comma, an exclamation mark.
Yeah, don't even joke like this.
.hack is CyberConnect 2, right?
Uh-huh.
I feel like at some point they're going to go back to .hack, considering eventually they're going to have to stop making Naruto games.
I mean, they did the Demon Slayer one. There's always going to be a new show in anime that's popular.
Dan, your dad can't spend that long shopping for milk.
But
He'll be back someday.
Maybe when they finish all those furry kid games, they'll be like, I forget what the franchise is called. The Little Tail Bronx series, I think is what it's called. When they finish the Little Tail Bronx series, they'll be like, okay, we can go back to .hack. Speaking of that, how about you guys fucking remake Tail Concerto and Salato Robo? I'd sure like that.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
No. They also did announce that Compendium Naruto game, where it's a combination.
Yeah,
of
they
all of
did.
them. Yeah. So
I honestly might get it because I think it's gonna run 60. And I want to see money.
Yeah, I want that. I want that shit. I want that shit bad, but I'm trying to hold
Maybe
myself back. I can't go back to playing Naruto games.
Maybe the 20-volume long meaningless war arc that Naruto ends on, maybe that condensed into like an hour of a video game mode will be the ideal way to experience that.
I was also gonna say this might be the ideal way to experience Naruto as a whole.
I mean, that's kind of the way I've been swinging it this whole time. Fun fact for anyone who doesn't know, I really enjoyed the Naruto games. I've never fucking watched Naruto except for one filler episode where they say cheese boigades. And that shit sticks with you.
And there is no good way to experience Boruto.
No, that just shouldn't have been made.
So I'm really tempted to get it. I shouldn't though. Jesus Christ. But it's 60 finally. It's been 2 fucking decades.
Yeah.
And it's finally 60. Christ. Anyway. Let's move on from this. 1 second. I want to type this on screen because we're never going to have a... there we go. Okay, so for people who don't know, Silicon Valley Bank started having problems. All sorts of bankrupted accounts. Government, what is it? FDIC only insures up to $250,000. So a lot of Silicon Valley companies started having major fucking problems, but none of that matters. You know what does? You know what does matter? Our man John Garvin and Michael Mumbauer in their awesome NFT powered game is now in trouble because the finances might have fallen out on this wonderful game we've all been looking forward to, the Power Duo, formerly Sony Power Duo, who are making their amazing game. They're hoping to help compensate for this financial fallout that maybe something will happen sales-wise with the comic book based on the IP that the game is, will sell well. The Ashfall comic book will sell well. So we all need to keep an eye out for that sale when that goes on sale, because they made the announcement in reaction to the SVB thing. So everyone keep your eyes out.
This is the most desperate thing maybe ever. This comic book will launch, like, give us enough money to launch
leverage.
a video game, a AAA video game and film series and TV show.
Show. I don't think it's a film series. I think it's just TV show. It's only a comic book game, AAA game, and TV series.
So I'm now convinced that if your launch pitch is like, we're also going to have a movie and a TV show and all this shit, you're just a hack and a con artist, because that's also what Keiji Inafuna's entire thing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, he had projects fall out before Mighty Number 9 because he wouldn't let that shit go. That's what happened to the fucking KO King of Pirates shit.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Like, we're going to make a movie and a TV series and a game. My brother in Christ, if you actually had the authority to greenlight that, you would not be crowdfunding.
Yeah, right.
It's worth noting that the FDIC, I think is that they came out and said we're cucks, so we're gonna give everybody the money even if it's more than what's insured.
Just so we're clear, for anyone who isn't able to parse this, this is one of those moments like bailing out the banks that we should all be kind of pissed about.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially since this bank specifically lobbied to not have to have regulations that would have prevented what happened from happening.
Mm-hmm.
But this does not save anybody who got like funding from that bank through loans, because this bank was real fucking free with loaning money to crackpots.
Shock.
Like that's why all the worst people in the world have been posting like it was 9/11 for the past week. Because it's like, do you want to start the only racist dating app? They'll give you $4 million to make it.
Yep.
Do you want to launch Soy Jack Coin, a hot new cryptocurrency? Here's $20 million.
So for anyone who wants a really quick broad view of America, this is what's happened with the financial sector and startups. This is what's happening with all of that money.
Yeah, I need everybody to know this because this is important. 90% of companies with valuation of over $1 billion have never been profitable and have no path to profitability under any circumstances whatsoever. The vast majority of Silicon Valley companies in the past decade that have existed have never made money once, not even for one quarter, and have never produced anything of value to anyone, which is why they're unprofitable. It really seems like this fucking endless house of cards that has been building atop itself for like 15 years is about to collapse.
It's okay.
And,
they're gonna bail out SVB and everything will normalize. And
like, it's so bad. These two thought, oh man, we need to make some money. What's a much more profitable and stable industry than ours? American comic books.
yeah.
You might as well just put it in the shredder.
Yeah.
So we have just all over the course of doing Big Think Dimension, we have brought up many times, X person is making a new studio to make big game. We don't know who's giving the money. There's a non-zero chance we never hear about 70% of them ever again.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And there are a decent number of those. It'll be such
It's like
a weirdly...
last week we talked about those Riot executives starting a company to make a big game. That might just be gone. They might already be washed.
Yeah, that's the
That's
one I was thinking of too.
That's probably true. That's probably the exact one that's gone. It's such a massive list of games that were announced, but so unimportant, we won't feel any of them being gone.
Right, because they were announced with such and such studio head has made this studio to make something maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It'll be the biggest thing ever made.
It's really funny that the moment money becomes real again, tech companies just instantly collapse. Like, there's not even a moment where they can stand on their own. It's like, what do you mean the infinite money faucet turned off?
Yeah, these people basically have been living in zero gravity for decades, and gravity just turned on and all of their bones were mush. That's realistically what has just occurred. See, this is when I slip in. There was going to be a joke specifically tying into why Reborn's down there, and I will not explain that any further, where I said big things should get more political. Here's the problem, though. We're already brutally honest with you people about how all this shit works, so there is no more from here. Anyways, let's head over to Dr. Agro's news. Hey, Dr. Agro.
So, like a couple days after that bank went tits up, two former Diablo devs, Jay Wilson and Julian Love, I think one of which was a game director on Diablo 3, and they worked on 3 and Immortal, and they pulled a bunch, like all the articles like, oh, with a bunch of other people who worked on, and they just list a bunch of Blizzard games.
Yeah.
They are starting their own studio.
Oh, that's great. I hear
Cast Giant Games.
I hear there's a lot of funding out there for new studios right now.
Yeah, they the interview I read, they're talking about how later in the year they're gonna, take some prototypes out and shop it around to investors. I guess because the faucet's off and they have to actually go get real funding now. They say that they are working on an action RPG with survival elements that we think players of both genres will love, and that's when I fell asleep for a bit, and when I woke up, I didn't give a shit about this announcement anymore.
I mean, there were already guys from Diablo 3, so that was like a debuff that was massive, and now it's that too.
It's weird that Diablo has such a simple core conceit.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the joy of becoming strong.
Mm-hmm.
How do you fuck that up?
Well, you tie it to a real money auction house system, which then gets in the way of you getting strong because it ties into how strong everyone else in the world is.
For some reason.
Goblins.
Yeah.
At least they eventually ripped out that real money auction house.
Yep. So that's probably the last of these former devs starting a studio. New stories we're gonna have for a little bit.
God, I think
That
I
is
might have one in my
entirely
new
possible,
segment
yeah.
for this week.
Oh my god.
No, not this time. Okay.
Oh, okay. Well, they're not getting through the door now.
In desperate cope news, Gamatsu tweeted that they found out that Konami Digital Entertainment Digital Entertainment filed a trademark for something called Project Zircon.
Mm-hmm.
They then extrapolated that, it's probably a Castlevania project because Zircon is an item in several Castlevania games. Like, I like Castlevania as much as the next guy, but please make a Castlevania game. You can smell the desperation coming off of Castlevania fans. You can smell it all over the world.
You know it's bad because I also saw it when I heard this.
Oh my god.
I mean that those rumors about them announcing a Metal Gear Solid 3 remake at E3 this year also include Castlevania. Like, that was also part of the thing. They would announce a new Castlevania. So maybe.
See,
it's coming.
I saw Project Zircon. I was like, a bootleg ass fucking worthless piece of shit. That's what you're working on. Got it.
Assuming they don't totally fuck up and it's somehow Lords of Shadow 3.
There's
like I said before.
No,
fuck it.
As long
as Mercury Steam doesn't get to make Lords of Shadow 3, go ahead. I'm too fascinated by this one.
But
so then after the DBZ fight, we didn't really deliver on.
as long as it looks like good at all. Like I said before, Castlevania goes from dead to the most competently handled franchise in the industry in the span of like 3 years. Because you got streaming show that is largely fondly regarded. You have pretty good collections.
Yeah.
Yep.
You have collaboration partners that make sense and are
Right.
highly regarded. And you got into Smash Bros.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They did it.
How is there not a game?
I don't know. Yeah, I'm excited for whatever Castlevania is when it comes back. I'm very excited to see that, and I remain optimistic. But even still, no, I didn't think Castlevania was because of Zircon. Like, it's just the jewels, the gems.
Yeah,
it's
I know, it's just a basic jewel type. Absolutely.
The real question is who's making it, because
yes,
none of these Konami things that have come out are made by like an internal Konami team, because they don't seem to have those anymore outside of whoever makes that soccer thing.
Sony Santa Monica.
that would be nice.
That would be incredible.
That would.
I tried to think of what's my worst case scenario, because I already know like Sony Santa Monica is one of my best case scenarios, right? Like it's them, and maybe Platinum could make a great Castlevania action game.
Maybe.
What's my worst case scenario? And it's like Microsoft, because it would never come out.
Yeah, I had
That's
the
it.
thought of the people who make Hellblade.
Ninja Theory.
Yeah, Ninja Theory.
Yeah.
Yeah, they'd make a terrible game.
No, they wouldn't. That's the problem.
That too.
They
Well,
would just
the
spend
good-
forever
well, the
not
good thing
finishing
is-
that game. Yeah.
The good thing is Microsoft isn't interested in signing any deals with anybody that doesn't involve owning them. So
That's true.
And that's the thing.
We don't
I
have to worry
fear
about that.
I don't have to fear that at all.
Because I feel like there's a pretty good chance Metal Gear Solid 3 Remake might be Blue Point.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that might be.
And that would be amazing.
That'd be insane.
So who knows with Castlevania? Like it could literally be a Sony studio. That thing mentioning it last year could have been like, no, we've already been making it. Where I'm just being a dick.
Would somebody at Sony Santa Monica really do that? Anyways, that was your desperation roundup.
Yes.
It really was like multiple desperation stories in a row. We're gonna head to Chris now. Chris, give us the latest in NFT.
Every single thing I have to talk about is related to the blockchain and the metaverse and nightmares. Actually, that isn't true. That isn't everything. So first, I'm going to talk about the fact 2 years ago, Atlas talked about Project X, some fucking mobile game they didn't want to talk about. It's a Persona 5 gacha game called Persona 5X.
Okay.
Huh.
A trailer just came out.
Yep.
Cool.
It doesn't show anything.
Of course not.
Cool.
The second thing is Compile Heart is teasing a new Neptunia game.
It's made by Sony Santa Monica.
It has office scenery, and they show a
Ooh.
bunch of employee profiles, but it's definitely a Neptunia game because it features chibi versions of those characters, and one of the teasers is somebody holding a book with the Neptunia logo on it. So it's definitely a Neptunia game. It's been a while since there's been one of those.
That's surprising. It felt like there was one every single year for a while there.
There's been one since there's been one that wasn't a crossover like the Senran Kagura thing. Maybe this will be the one that's a real game. No, it won't.
I mean, if it's literally just them in an office, I will buy that.
Yeah, I might too. Apparently they're gonna announce it in the March 23rd issue of Weekly Famitsu.
Cool.
Time for horrors.
Yay.
So first of all, it's important to announce that Japan started a thing called the Japan Metaverse Special Economic Zone is what I think it is called.
Yeah, they did.
Basically, companies doing metaverse shit in Japan get a bunch of fucking tax benefits and subsidies and all kinds of shit, which is why a lot of companies are now popping up to do this kind of thing. It's like, yes, we will take free government money and not make anything.
Right.
That's the favorite thing to which I say based. Honestly, taking government money and then not making anything, that's the dream. that's one reason all these companies are starting blockchain shit. And here's another. So at the outgoing financial interview of the current Square Enix CEO, people talked about how he brought up, like, please look forward to our blockchain games. Most people left out what he was responding to, which is an investor going, yeah, all our games have been pretty profitable and you guys are making money. How are you going to make us even more money forever? How will you always deliver more money than the previous quarter forever until the sun goes out?
Yeah, hyper specifically, he was like, the lineup for the rest of the year looks great. What's next year? How is it better than this? This seems too strong. Next year will be weaker than this year, so that's bad. It's like,
Investors are insane.
yeah, no, they're scum.
I feel like the one I always have to bring up is, I think it was Capcom.
Yeah.
Like quarter
Yeah.
3 to 2020, an investor's like, why is our arcade division doing so badly?
They were like, you did really well when you guys made Street Fighter 2 for arcades. Have you considered going back to that? That's literally what they said.
Yeah.
It was like, we hadn't considered using the Soul Society secret weapon and rewinding time.
It's just literally that SpongeBob like picture of, here's the open coffin for him to get into.
Yeah. Investors, they're not people. They're just holes in the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So in response to this, I had to go find out, are there currently running blockchain games? Because nobody ever talks about them.
No.
Mhm.
Gamatsu doesn't post like trailers for them. There are a couple. The most successful one is called, I believe, Axie Infinity. It is like a little Pokemon type game. It has, I think, 200,000 users. So it is literally nothing in the mobile game space. It is fuck all.
Yeah.
Mhm, yeah.
It basically doesn't exist. It's the most successful one. It's also been hacked 3 times.
But the blockchain's secure.
It's so perfect and secure and unstoppable.
It's so fucking hard to find any information about actual blockchain games. It is so fucking hard because you put in the name of them into YouTube and you get an endless fucking parade of these Xeroxed bearded guys doing like the YouTube thumbnail point at like, I played this game for 15 hours and made $9. and there's no footage of the game. There's no screenshots of the game. It is just them talking at their webcam for 15 minutes about how you can make money at this game. And that's all of them. That's every single game you look up.
That's so depressing.
So about
You
the
can
real
even
money auction house in Diablo 3 and how ahead of his time it was.
Yeah.
Here's another thing. Here's Reddit actually got a lot of its users to sign on with NFTs. You know how?
They used it as a backend instead
They
of
did not
pretending it was the product.
Exactly. Although somebody in that very thread where it's like, yeah, they sold people a bunch of NFTs by hiding they were NFTs. A lot of people popped and was like, no, they didn't. Like 80% of the 40,000 they claim were sold were given away for free for upvotes.
That is true. That is true. 80% of the volume was apparently given away for free.
That's just like the Game Pass. So many people have it. Yeah, it was $1 and it came with a bag of chips. I don't know.
You know what? Do we have a Game Pass segment? Is there Game Pass news? There's not
I
Game
don't think
Pass
there's
news.
Game
I'm
Pass.
laying,
there's
I'm
not
laying
Game
this
Pass
shit
news.
right down. I realized week after week I'm getting angrier because I had to deal with every podcast and every journalist on earth going, weird. Microsoft said years ago that people bought more games if they had Game Pass, and now they're telling the CMA that people don't buy more games if they have Game Pass. I'm like, no, you're illiterate. They said on average, people with Game Pass are known to buy more games. That's because they have money, dipshit. The comparison point is someone who owns an Xbox and has no money.
No, Dan. Phil Spencer specifically said back in 2019, we see increased sales of games that are on Game Pass.
No, that is not what that said.
It is not what he said.
It said we see increased spending from people who have Game Pass. It's like, yeah, because the alternative is people who can't afford it. This isn't complicated.
I hate it. I hate this so much because it's like all these people have Game Pass who say that.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd look at their own purchasing habits and be like,
Right?
It's pretty freaking obvious.
Actually, to be fair, I have seen those people literally do that. Multiple of them on Twitter in replies being like, what the fuck are they talking about? I don't buy games.
like
I literally-
Xbox games I own, backwards compatible games, and I own Saints Row 4 on physical on Xbox because it was cheaper than the PS4 version.
That's the same for us, isn't it?
Basically.
We haven't bought a single series game.
No, because we bought Gears before the series happened.
Right, and I bought it for $5.
Yeah, it was like dirt cheap because Game Pass existed.
Because Game Pass ruined the sales. Yeah.
But we're getting off. We're getting
Yes,
way in the
yes,
fucking
yes,
weeds.
yes,
back
yeah.
to NFTs. So
We have to go back.
blockchain games aren't real and are total scams. Just
Yeah.
complete fucking nothing.
Mhm.
Speaking of that, symbiogenesis.
Symbiogenesis.
Symbiogenesis, that fucking Square Enix one, released its first trailers and screenshots. It looks like shit and has all AI and is like obviously AI art. So at least you don't have to worry that a good artist is trapped in this game, because it seems like give us money, government, for this fake division.
Did you ever see somebody who just fucked up showing for work on purpose to be like, this is what you get because I can't call in? This is that game, motherfucker. They used AI to generate all the art, and they're like, look at how good this is.
There's 10,000 artworks.
Honestly,
This is
has
what you
more-
asked
this-
for.
This has more the energy to me of like the monorail episode of The Simpsons, where the guy just takes all their money and builds like the most wildly dangerous cut corners thing.
Mm-hmm.
Where it's just like, no, our motivation is to steal money from the Japanese government. And they don't have a real artist working on it, so I don't have to be mad.
How dire.
Yeah, it's rough.
We sort of like browsed a little bit through the documents that went up for this game, and it's just like, this isn't a game.
there's
This
no
is a
game in here.
monetization model. It's literally the
Yeah,
same
there's-
problem
That's
NFTs
all
have.
of them.
Yeah.
That's
yeah,
that's all these games I could find. It's like half of them are untextured. It looks like Fortnite if Fortnite had no textures, because these have to run on a phone or in a web browser because no actual gaming platform will allow them on.
Which is so smart. Can we talk about that? Just genuinely surprised.
They
they've
look
been
like that. It's
smart.
like, just imagine looking at Fortnite with no textures, buy a car for $30,000.
Yep.
This isn't here or there, but a report came out recently where it's like 95% of all cryptocurrency has never moved once. It just sits in whatever wallet it was minted in, because there isn't that much movement of it. People don't buy and sell it that much, except for Bitcoin. Like, that's the only one, and Ethereum.
Mhm. Yeah.
But none of the others move at all. People don't use it to buy things. The only way people use it is a speculative asset, and so many people hold unless it shoots through the roof, and even then they usually don't sell.
Oh, and real quick, gonna remind people, Ethereum went from a processing-based proof of ownership to a storage-based, as far as I know. So the ecological concerns of Ethereum is largely reduced because of that. Now, how that affects the hard drive market, I don't fucking know.
Right.
Seems to have not fucked things up yet. I have no idea.
But speaking of that special Japan economic zone, something that is almost certainly a result of that.
My least favorite Sonic 4 Episode 1 level.
Yeah.
The Pokemon Company posted a Web3 related job listing.
Yeah.
They sure fucking did.
I cannot see a timeline where Nintendo allows something they're attached to in any way in this field to come out. It has to be like, we're looking into it. Give us money, Japanese government. Because can you imagine fucking Pikachu NFTs? There's no fucking way.
Yeah, no, that seems so unlikely.
That also reminds me, I did go around reading, and the reason we're still seeing NFT shit, that despite everybody setting whoever talks about it on fire, is a lot of executives literally have the mindset of, well, people reacted like this to like mobile games and microtransactions and gacha games, and all those became, and everybody kneeled before those. So obviously that'll happen here too, which I don't think it will, because all those previous things offered anything to anybody.
Right.
Right.
Those were real things. What you're trying to leverage isn't a thing.
Right?
That's not real. Once again, like what I was talking about with the Reddit thing is like, it's a transaction model.
Yeah.
It's not a product.
I have to give credit to Penny Arcade. We're fucking rare in 2023. But they did point out, like, you know, it would be the easiest way to use NFTs that would get gamers on as fast as possible. When you buy a game digitally, you get it as an NFT and can trade or sell it.
Yeah.
And then of course the comic was like the executive he was talking to immediately bursting into flames.
Yeah, because that would involve a resale market for your games, which absolutely no.
Well, Microsoft was going to do it, but then the gamers ruined. Sorry, I need to sound like every YouTuber. The gamers ruined everything. See, Microsoft was going to give us proof of digital ownership in every box. But then the gamers complained about always online. If you didn't pitch a fit about nothing, we would have that future. This is what you took from me, Xbox Gamer Dan.
I hate that so much because there was so many horrible posts like, maybe they'll make games cheaper because of this, because they don't have to worry about resales. Have you noticed that like that whole thing went away, and it seemed to go away pretty much exactly when games stopped being like 8-hour cinematic bullshit that you played once and then never thought about again? Like, as the quality of games went back up, and all of a sudden the resale market wasn't so fucking important because people didn't trade in every single game they bought as soon as they beat it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Especially when we stopped making 8-hour experiences that were incredibly linear and all of them in the same shape. Because that's another thing, right? Like, you're less likely to trade in a thing that offers something different to you from all these other things, because you might ever want it again. However, if this is your 13th AAA shooter, you probably don't give a fuck.
Time for what I think is the funniest news of the week.
Boop.
Hajime Tabata's big new fucking... we'll get to meta. But Hajime Tabata's big new fucking project is a metaverse NFT thing.
Of course it is. Did he get his Olympic game out at any point?
I think so. It was just a mobile game, so it wasn't very notable.
Man, this guy. Infinite L's.
It's so bizarre. You'd think at least creatives would understand this was a dead end.
No, some of them just buy in wholesale. It's weird.
But and now time for the news that Dan put the topic for. Meta laid off 10,000 more people. That means in the past 6 months they've laid off 25% of their entire fucking workforce. They keep posting billion-dollar losses every quarter. They've completely given up on the metaverse entirely, the thing they fucking renamed the company to.
Yeah, right.
They seem to be backing off of virtual reality because they only got into that for the metaverse, and that isn't going anywhere. Facebook might be gut shot, that we might watch them slowly bleed out over the next couple of years, because they have no plan. Their plan was, okay, advertising and selling data, but thanks to the EU, they can't do that as much anymore. Are they just going to cut down to like almost nothing to the point where, okay, we're just advertising now? I don't think Mark Zuckerberg's going to go for that. I think he's going to drive this plane into a cliff face.
I have to wonder if he's changes the name back to Facebook.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
I want to feel so bad for the workers at Facebook. You work for Facebook. You see the problem, right?
Yeah, there's nobody inside Facebook who is stunned they were laid off. There's nobody. Not a single fucking person.
I feel for you as a human being, but you went to work for Facebook. It's so hard to cross this chasm. To feel bad for you after all the years, just recapping the last 4 years of what they've been doing should be enough to be like, and you didn't get out then, and then you got laid off. There's so many Silicon Valley companies you could have gone to work for. Facebook's so insane.
I mean, the thing about like these really, and this is part of why Twitter fell apart immediately when Elon Musk took over, is that these really established Silicon Valley companies
Uh-huh.
are where you work if you want to have a normal job and leave at a reasonable time and get a living wage.
Mm-hmm.
You're
The
talking like
the startups are where you go in the meat grinder in the hopes that your stock options translate to when they sell the company to Meta,
yeah.
you get
Yeah.
$1 trillion. And Elon Musk wants to run Twitter like that, even though that's not why any of the employees are there, because there is no like that can't happen at Twitter, which is why all the fucking talent left. Yeah, sadly, the United States looks like it might ban TikTok, so the Meta stock has gone up.
Oh, that sucks.
And I imagine if the U.S. government actually goes through with that, one of those people will spit out a clone instantly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They could call it
Frame
anything.
one.
They could call it anything like video VI Vine. Is that taken? Is Vine
What
taken?
happened to Vine? What happened to Vine? Who ate Vine and decided it should die? Was
Twitter
it
made
Facebook?
Vine and then shut it down.
Oh, that's a shame.
Wow.
Well, I mean, they wanted to be just like Google, so.
Oh yeah.
Who knows? Maybe they bought it too. You know, they may have bought Vine. It may have been someone else they acquired and then shut down, so they would be exactly like Google.
I'm gonna steal a piece of Bob's news because it's related to the metaverse vaguely.
Go for it.
That's unfortunate.
Microsoft signed a 10-year deal with 2 cloud gaming platforms, Boosteroid and Ubitus. Ubitus? I don't fucking know.
Yeah, who knows? They
I
have
guess
like
it's supposed to
400
be-
followers on
I
Twitter.
guess it is supposed to be like ubiquitous with a syllable taken out, so I'm just gonna say Ubitus. Ubitus did the Switch cloud gaming versions of Hitman 3, Resident Evil 7, and Assassin's Creed Odyssey. Bob says he opened too many instances of their website, so it stopped working.
Yeah, I couldn't look at it anymore. It just started. It went to an infinite loading screen because I opened the web page 3 times.
And Ubitus is big on NFTs, which is funny considering how hard Phil Spencer went off against them, as if anything that man says matters at all.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So, okay, that's the NFT horror round over. I hope we never have to talk about the metaverse that much in one podcast ever again.
Yeah, I hope not. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
Do the rest of the Microsoft news.
Sure.
Did we cover everything under the 10-year deal with 2 cloud platforms?
There wasn't anything there other than Phil Spencer signs other deal to please let this happen. Please.
Yep. It was just 2 completely unknown companies. Like, there are 4 million users of Boosteroid. That's it. And they act like it's some big deal that they got this 10-year deal to bring Microsoft games for it.
Like, it's so nakedly what it is. Any day now, Phil Spencer is going to look directly into a camera and declare that he has never heard of Starfield.
The other thing that came out was they got signed permission from 6 other companies that it's okay for them to buy Activision Blizzard, and they submitted that to CMA.
A question. Why does it fucking matter what all these other corporations say? Isn't the point to protect the fucking consumer?
I know, right?
I mean, that's how it's been run for like the last 40 years. So.
Yeah. The only one of these studios that wasn't anonymous was Studio 4J, the company who ported freaking Minecraft to everything. So they're already Microsoft partners. Why would you even bother submitting that?
Because you're Microsoft and you hope they won't notice what that company does.
Yeah.
You literally assume they're that stupid. Yeah, they really are desperate at this point. It's
I'm
pretty sad.
I'm inclined to believe that the worst thing possible will always happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I am inclined to believe that the deal will sadly go through somehow.
Yeah, despite all factors.
At the same time, they're wriggling so fucking much that I feel like it has to be worse than we know.
Yeah, this other thing that they came out this week. Oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that as we all know, if the deal doesn't go through, apparently Microsoft has to pay an insane amount of money to Activision. Activision wants the deal to go through because the number of the executives want to get paid. This is so desperately needed by both parties.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't make it good for you, the consumer.
No.
I know a lot of people seem to have this mental block where they go, but those companies are made of people. So if the companies need it, then people need it. And if people need things, then it's good for them to get them.
Yeah, the people at the top need them. The people that aren't human.
Right.
Eat all.
Like this isn't going to
dimension.
save Toys for Bob.
No.
As we found out with that Bethesda thing that came out, is like, it's not even good for the people who get acquired because Microsoft is so hands off. They don't give the new employees Microsoft benefits.
Yep.
Like we got that expose where they're like, yeah, I was really excited that we got bought by Microsoft because they have much better health plans than us. And then it's like, well, you're not real Microsoft employees, so you don't get that shit. Surprise. No company buys another company to treat the employees better. I don't know why this fucking is so hard for people to understand. Guess what? Guess what, motherfuckers? Guess fucking what? No company is going to buy another company to spend even more money running them.
Shock.
Yeah.
Complete
A
shock.
company being bought by another company means one of two things. They have to make more money with the same amount of resources because now more people have to get paid, or they have to make the same amount of money with less resources.
And really, like what we're seeing more and more over the last 4 decades, unfortunate, is that a lot of this conglomeration is not even about what he just said. It's about manipulation of the market. Like once you're able to control the market itself, like you get to leverage things into very specific points. Like Microsoft and Sony are very, very lucky that Nintendo has differentiated themselves. And all three of these fuckers are lucky that it's hard to enter the gaming market because it would not be hard to disrupt their $70 MSRP asses.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get into that market. It's very unfortunate. A lot of industries are a bit easier to get into than this because you need the developers to come to your platform in order to make it successful. You need the consumers to also come to your platform to make it successful. You don't make a product, you make a platform for products.
Mm-hmm.
And you also need to fund the making of products. A thing Microsoft has yet to successfully facilitate their way into doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
With their lack of very compelling software for the first approaching 3 years of this console. But hey, at least Starfield will come out. And if they didn't acquire Bethesda, then what would have?
Forza, maybe.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's really dire.
Fable got rebooted. Perfect Dark got rebooted. Who fucking knows with Everwild? Last I heard, like a year ago, they still didn't know what that game was supposed to be.
Yeah.
State of Decay 3, who knows?
State of Decay 3, Avowed, assuming that didn't get canceled the second the Bethesda acquisition went through.
Right. Like we're just sitting here waiting for them to make any compelling software. It's no wonder that they're third place.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways,
Like,
Bob.
like we've talked about a bunch. Since the first franchise, Gears was like 2 to 3 years fucking rock solid.
Mm-hmm.
You got a Gears game every other or third year. The last Gears game was 2019.
Yep.
It now feels like even that has fallen off a cliff.
Yep. The last thing I got about this,
The Microsoft.
the Microsoft CMA stuff is literally Microsoft being like, you did the math wrong. CMA, you did your job wrong.
Okay, what about what?
The CMA's model compares games on a 5-year basis to losses on just a 1-year basis, and Microsoft says this massively skews the results.
What is that? What does that mean? It sounds like they're ignoring 4 years of your losses. So,
right?
What did that?
It seems like weird. Like
I don't know. Like it's accounting. If you don't know, don't try.
Yeah. I don't. Okay.
It's weird, and it feels like maybe not the smartest thing to do, just to literally say the CMA did the math wrong. Do it again.
No,
it's literally calling for a recount.
No, as it turns out, government institutions really appreciate it when the people they're scrutinizing go, "You're not being rational."
Yeah.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
You got other news?
Yeah, there's news about video games instead of this Garbage.
They've literally ruined years of podcasts, I feel.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
cannot
it
wait
sucks.
for this thing to just be stomped completely into the ground. We can just stop talking about it.
Yeah, it's gonna be great. Anyways, where are we going?
The top. So Guilty Gear Strive. We got some news. They announced Bedman? There's a question mark at the end. He comes out April 6th. It's going to be you play as the bed, and the little sister is next to the bed. And she's being protected by it. It might be neat, I guess. I'm not very excited. I didn't think that they didn't really sell me on wanting to play as the bed in that story they released a year ago. There was an ad for this character that's finally coming out now.
They didn't sell you on playing as the bed.
No, they didn't really do that.
Okay.
I figured everyone who liked Bedman just wanted to play as a sleepy twink. Am I wrong? Let me know in the comments.
Yeah, let them know in the comments.
Yeah, that does feel like a core part of Bedman's appeal is that when he you win a match as Bedman, he goes on like an 8-paragraph fucking rant.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
L felt.
Right? Like, that's the good stuff for that character.
Yeah.
So I don't think any of that's going to be here. I guess it's there for somebody. It's really just Bridget is holding this whole season pass 2 up, like Atlas.
Like Atlas?
Yeah, she's all that holds it together. Everything else in this pass is like, that's
Wasn't
it.
Testament in this pass?
No, that was last pass. That was Land of
Yeah,
It.
that was
Oh.
last pass.
Then yeah, that's pretty much all they have, except the next thing.
Yes, they teased it in May. The next character comes out, which is going to be Oscar Krauser, who is that man. That might be cool.
Is it Krauser or Kreutz?
Kreutz, I guess. I don't know.
'cause this is written Kreutz.
Right.
Asuka Kreutz.
What do you mean that's that man's name?
Yeah, right.
What?
I think there are 2 that man, so it's one of the that men.
Them guys?
Yes.
Them mans?
Fans of our other podcasts might be excited. This guy is voiced by Ishida's voice actor.
Yeah, Derek's
Oh.
team friends.
Oh.
So that
Oh.
I guess Spotify didn't pick up his podcast,
right.
so now he has to now he has to be a fighter again.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, a podcast is maybe the best thing in that game.
That's so insane.
I do wonder if his design will radically be different than it was in the Strive story mode, because it's like a thing that he keeps making himself younger.
Huh? Yeah, they might do something. That'd be cool. I don't think his design is exactly great.
It would be really funny if he was just like the size of May.
Also, in April 6th, along with Bedman, they're adding a new stage, the Forest Fairy Forest Factory stage.
Okay.
So that's always nice. And they announced that there's a season 3 in development. Hopefully it's done, unlike this one. Because this felt like really a ripoff compared to season 1. It's fewer characters, there's no story mode, and it's more expensive. So hopefully season 3 is good.
Hopefully.
I guess I can move on now. Microids announced a Space Adventure of Cobra game for consoles and PC.
Oh, okay.
That's cool. I have no idea what they're going to come up with.
Probably fighting some robot masters, acquiring some powers.
You got
Probably.
the Mega Buster,
Yeah.
which Keiji Inafune is like, yeah, I took that. I'm not going to leave that on the floor.
Kamiya said that he's a huge fan of Space Adventure of Cobra. It'd be really cool if this got outsourced to Platinum somehow, but I doubt it.
Yeah. By the way, for anyone who's been listening to this big thinking twice, had like BattleNet Blizzard games PTSD just then. I'm sorry. I thought that came through on one of our co-hosts, Mike. I didn't realize since I booted BattleNet to download the Diablo 4 beta that it was at random letting me know your brother signed in. your brother signed out. Because the time it happened before, one of our co-hosts was talking. I was like, "Oh, that's weird. That sounds familiar. Not sure what game that is." Shows you how often I use that.
If they get a real developer to make this, it'll be like the first real game Microids ever put out, because normally they just fucking do shovelware.
Yeah, they are a company all about that. But they announced a ton of random licensed games recently. Maybe one of them will be good. Who knows?
Matto in chat saying that they made that Joe and Mac game, didn't they? Like the one that Chris hates.
I think they did.
I think so. Yes.
Oh,
Speaking of like bringing back licensed games. Apparently, we hit the copying Shredder's revenge real fast because a Toxic Avenger game got announced. That is a beat 'em up that looks a lot like we have Shredder's Revenge at home. And Gianni is in it as a voice actor. I don't know who he plays though.
Gianni, the voice actor, yeah.
Weird.
That's weird. Do they have a date or anything?
No, but they have a trailer with like gameplay and it's supposed to be sometime this year.
Huh.
Okay. Wow.
When I saw stuff with that, I
who's
thought it
making it.
was a port of an old like Super Nintendo or NES game because I didn't look at it.
No.
No one's ever made a Toxic Avenger game.
Right.
Its developer is Retroware, which they haven't actually released anything yet.
Retroware's not a developer. Retroware's a fucking website I edited the video game years for that was then bought out by Screenwave Media. It's just an empty brand name.
Oh, well then I don't know who's making this.
Dan, did you work on the Toxic Avenger game? Yeah, you get to see a penis in it.
I put it in there. It's mine.
They
Is it yours?
They
Buy
they
the game
published-
and find out. People like, I don't get to see the rest of the image. I still don't know. Is this Dan Video Games dick?
I think they published both AVG and games, which I think
They
are
did.
acceptable.
That's cool. Oh, there was a Toxic Crusaders game. That's not Toxic Avenger. That's a different thing.
All right. I guess next thing, Ghostwire Tokyo is coming to Xbox and getting a big update.
Spider's Thread.
Yeah, it's called Spider's Thread.
Spider's Thread.
It comes out April 12th. This adds a bunch of combat options. Like there's now counterattacks, quick dodging, elemental melee strikes, a bunch of things that really feel like that game needed to have like a fleshed out system at all because it
Nice.
feels incredible and basic.
Can't wait to go back for Ghostwire Tokyo at some point.
Right? And this update's come to all platforms. It's not exclusive to Xbox or anything. So that's good.
That's good.
Me doing like the smirk because I have Game Pass and don't have to pay for this.
Luckily I didn't trade in that copy that we got.
Ooh.
Um
Well, that's good because I wrote it off on my taxes.
yeah, that'd be complicated, wouldn't it?
I'd be like,
There's a new middle school level in the main game world. Who knows what's going to do with that? And they've added this big new challenge mode, which is like a roguelike, but it's 130 handmade levels. You play 30 of them at random. And it's apparently super tough. And if you die, you get to keep some power-ups and like try it again.
I'm sorry. My brain just goes, it's like the Lufia 2 dungeon. It's like, yeah, Dan, the highly relatable end of game Lufia 2 dungeon. That'll be a real banger when you let that one out of your mouth. Just say it, asshole. Say that it's like the Lufia 2 dungeon.
Who fucking owns Lufia now?
I don't know. All we have to do is see who made the DS game.
Yeah, for some reason I saw it ended up with Falcom. I might be totally wrong.
Maybe.
No, there's no way. That not a chance.
Taito?
That'd be insane.
Taito.
Let me see here. Where's that fucking remake?
Which means it's Square's fault I haven't seen a Lufia game.
Yeah.
That's true. It is Square Enix.
Don't worry, they'll crank out it alongside 5 other things so it cannot sell.
Oh yeah, we didn't even fucking talk about that.
No, we
I
didn't
fucking
talk about
completely-
that
got lost
insane
in the-
detail where it's like we
Square
heard so
Enix-
many times that Harvestella did fine, and now we hear, yeah, nothing did fine last year.
No, they didn't say nothing. They only said some things underperformed. And if I had to guess, I would guess because I went and checked Famitsu weekly sales to see which things did the most poorly. My guess would be Valkyrie Elysium,
Yeah, of course.
Harvestella and
Unfortunately.
Star Ocean both seem to do good. Because Tri-Ace didn't immediately shut down, so I guess they did fine. The Dio Field Chronicle, a game I would be
course.
surprised if anybody remembers exists.
I remember because I played that awful demo.
And the Front Mission remake, which I didn't know came out.
Yeah, I didn't know that came out either.
I knew that came out, but it's handled by those monsters. So
Right, so why would you
even though
ever?
I love Front Mission, I wasn't even considering buying it.
Yeah, and then Tactics Ogre and Crisis Core released in the middle of all this as well.
But those both did really good on Famitsu sales. Tactics Ogre especially. People fucking love Tactics Ogre over in Japan.
Thank God.
So I can't imagine that like literally those three things, like Valkyrie Elysium, Dio Field Chronicle, Front Mission, are probably the things that did bad.
Valkyrie, Star Ocean, both of those were launched and needed a big patch months later. They clearly weren't ready to launch. Either of them should have been pushed out of that quarter.
Mm-hmm. To give it more time.
Yeah,
to
give it more
polish,
time and let
Yeah.
them launch
Space.
with that patch.
Yeah.
Because both of those made the game significantly better.
We talked about it with Nintendo, but Square Enix is also a company that was like, we're putting a lot of money into expanding our internal development capabilities, which I hope means this shit launches too early, third-party developer we don't look at until the game's done and it is a disaster. Fucking stops.
Yeah.
Because if they can make more games, they can fill out their schedule more evenly and don't need to rely on these outside developers to make their games.
Yeah, maybe they can at least get some producers there that look at these games that are being made.
Right.
And
A very hands-on director or producer.
right?
You know, because that's obviously like what the problem is with Stranger of Paradise, with its insanely high-end models that make the game run bad.
Yeah. And seemingly need to launch at that time of year.
Right. I saw people trying to be like Crisis Core sold well, and I'm like, I don't have any idea if that sold well. I have no
Probably
clue.
sold fine.
I mean, it's not
Like-
high budget.
Yeah, it has
No,
Final
it's not
Fantasy name on it. Final Fantasy 7 name
And
on it.
I
Right.
saw, and like I tend to judge that thing because I follow like literally thousands of artists,
Mhm.
many of whom are not plugged into games. So if I see a bunch of them tweet about a game, I'm like, okay, that probably did fine.
Okay.
And that's my metric for because I saw I saw all, including people who aren't big Square Enix people, just be like, it's the game I played when I was in 2007 or whatever.
When I
So-
was baby.
Yeah.
I just had no idea. Like, because they didn't say it, unlike Harvestella, they didn't say anything one way or the other on that.
Yeah, plus any game that launches in December, you have to be worried about.
That's
A
true,
game
yeah.
does not perform well in December, usually.
Usually, unless its name is Super Smash Brothers.
Right.
Anyway,
Apparently that game like blew the doors off in the Japanese release.
that's good.
It sold like 200,000 week one, which is huge in Japan.
That is really good numbers.
Right. There is the thing of Japan overall doesn't mean that much, but there's a hope that that Xbox relates to it did well in other territories,
Right,
but
right,
never
right.
not knowing that it did.
I tend to also, for the record, this is fiscal year 2023, not actual calendar year 2023, meaning Triangle Strategy and Stranger of Paradise were not included in these
Right. That makes sense.
these numbers. Triangle Strategy did good. They said that shipped like 1 million, like not even that long after it launched.
Great.
Put it on something else. Put it on something else.
Just acknowledge that and be like, we can make a new tactics game that has not a stupid name. that maybe is Final Fantasy Tactics.
I still hope that like them putting so much money in the Tactics Ogre thing and them doing Triangle Strategies, like, okay, now Matsuno, we let them do a strategy game, so now they have experience making a strategy game. Now you can go over to them and direct a new strategy game.
Mhm.
Yes, Evilus versus Rabbids.
We talked about this on Big Thing, but that thing fucking bombed. Rabbids 2.
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course.
That did fucking good job not understanding the fucking sales environment of the Switch's launch, your dumb ass. Go sit with Nippon Ichi Software.
Or even the viability of your own product, like your own IP and how well you've kept it alive.
Everyone loves rabbits. And will forever.
Yeah, we'll just not release anything with them for 8 years.
And it'll be fine.
It'll be fine. Which I know it's 6, whatever. Hyperbole.
Hey, Bob.
Hey.
Move on.
Yes, of course.
Thank you.
Hyperlight Breaker. They delayed the early access to fall and released the first gameplay.
Is this the first gameplay?
Yeah, I don't think we
Wow.
saw anything before this. They even like advertised gameplay is being showcased. This game looks
They
weird.
advertised a gameplay showcase.
Yes, on Twitter I'm getting ads from before they released the gameplay saying gameplay is coming soon.
But they called it a gameplay showcase. Do they not know that that's meaningless in the eyes of gamers nowadays? 2020 ruined it. Xbox's gameplay showcase. Aggro got it. I heard him laugh.
Uh-huh.
Oh my god.
I'm still actively mad about that.
It's really hard to tell exactly what this game's going to be like. They show really short clips. I'm thinking this is going to be an indie Destiny game that's terrible.
It kind of looks like everything but that last thing. I can't tell if it's terrible yet. I need a little bit more than what they showed me.
Yeah, fair.
You get the whiffs coming off of it of,
Yeah.
this probably has a bad structure.
I need the developers of Hyper Light Drifter to not fucking blow up this way. Like, I need their story to not end. We made a game that isn't impressive and feels bad and has text logs from the Snuffleupagus, and then we made a Destiny thing where we die.
Right.
During this gameplay showcase, did someone from Gearbox Publishing, because I forgot, like they're Gearbox Publishing, so it's what was it, Godfall and then this?
Yes.
Someone from Gearbox Publishing is like, can you tell us what's new and amazing in this game? And they said no.
No, they did not. There was
Okay.
actually no interview segment at all. It was just gameplay clips put together.
Honestly, this seems like the exact game where I would kind of want an interview segment to let me know what it is other than 4-player.
Yeah, because they put out a big text document. It's like, yeah, there's roguelike elements and yada, yada, yada. And it's like, okay, maybe you should have someone talk about what your game is.
Yeah, it's so weird for the people who made Hyper Light Drifter to be going in this direction.
I know, right?
A no-clip documentary said their design was for an infinite open world game where failed runs you wake up in an entirely new place.
Toe Jam and Earl.
I'm
just gonna roguelike it.
this.
Yeah, like I said, probably bad.
Yeah, now hearing that description, I'm maybe
assuming this comes out and isn't like the most we're making this insanely overambitious thing. Now we're dead.
Yeah.
That's okay. Gearbox Publishing will make sure this game is completely done and full of content in time for launch.
I mean, do you excited for early access in fall?
Yeah.
That's how they're launching it.
Ooh.
My next thing, Splash Damage. Those are the guys who've done a bunch of different games,
Brink?
like Brink, and multiplayer for Gears, I believe. A lot of different
Yes.
multiplayer projects for other companies.
Yes.
They announced their new Project Astride, made in partnership with two live streamers, Sacriel and Shroud. This is a AAA open world survival game. So I guess they're done.
Thank you for the great news. Thank you.
It's over.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you saved these two stories for the end.
I know. I wish I had anything else to talk about. I'm sorry.
I have something to talk about. A cool YouTube video came out that was like, hey, if you use the Wii's homebrew app called USB Loader GX or whatever,
Yeah.
you can boot the game on your Wii and tell it don't deflicker it, which is when the Wii and GameCube just smudged every pixel on the screen, and then output the frame buffer to the screen instead of resizing it at all. And it makes all your Wii games look much sharper, and you can fix the aspect ratio on your TV or an OBS. Man, look at that. Great news here at the end of this podcast.
Thank you, Dan.
Slight downside. I couldn't get Excitebots to boot like this. This is actually the real call. You thought all those other things were calls to action this week? Nah. This is a real one. Hey, do you know what the fuck Excitebots is? Sound off in the comments.
Don't go look it up, though.
No, you're not allowed to do that. That's illegal. You have to go straight to the comments right now and let me know if you have any fucking clue what Excitebots is, because Bob said it and I thought he was making it up or somebody made a bootleg of something. I was like, this is a joke from Bob. Looks it up. It's real. This is a bootleg and is not real. Anyways, let me know if you know. That's it for Big Think this week. I think that's all the news. You may or may not have heard earlier in this very same podcast that, in fact, tomorrow, which is Friday, Bob and I will be playing some sort of video game. We, in fact, will be playing, not sure if you knew this, Super Mario 64 DS. God. On the Wii U, and it's gonna look so sharp and fancy, and I'm so excited to beat this game for the first time ever. Anamorph. Yes, I'm becoming Yoshi. Do you not? Yoshi's gonna take my hat and then pretend he's me and then go around asking people for their social security number. So that's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. I'm finally gonna beat Super Mario 64 DS, a thing I've pushed back now for 19 years. Which, if you want to get finicky, 18 years and 4 months.
Oh my god.
Yeah, Bob will be there too, but no one's, stealing his identity. No. I'm gonna go ahead and put that away now. Hey, Dr. Aggro, do you got anything going on next week?
Yeah, I'm gonna be wearing outfits comprised of shirts and pants that are separate while I continue to play Octopath.
That's fucking crazy.
Potentially piss myself playing one of 2 other games.
That's great. I look forward to the piss check next week on Big Think Dimension. Chris, what do you got going on next week?
I will play Saints Row the original so I can escape this zone where I play games where I'm not allowed to have music playing. We will escape this era, and then I don't know what I'll do after this era.
Chat, you need to go to Chris's stream and throw a reasonable amount of money at him so he has to play Agents of Mayhem.
At least I'll be able to have music in that. At least there's no fucking licensed music, I don't think, because it's just a fucking weird. We made Overwatch, but we don't. And if we hit that goal, I will spend $10 on the DLC so we can play as Johnny Gat and Kinsey from Saints Row.
How are they not just in the game? Because that game's a mistake in so many ways. That's going to do it for Big Think Dimension this week. Thank you all for watching. Thank you very much for listening to this episode of Big Think Dimension. Big Think Dimension and this podcast network is only possible because of your support over on patreon.com/gbpodcast, where you can get over 60,000 commentary tracks and access to a movie called Isolation 119, possibly one of the best tax write-offs of our generation.